to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Alrighty. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Detroit Cast, usually with Mike and Jay. Unfortunately, or fortunately, Big E is sitting in Jay's seat today. Jay's
Whoa. To be clear,
into the mic, you son of a bitch.
I am. To be clear, I moved his seat so he can't argue that I got it germs, and I'm not using his headphones.
Okay.
I am speaking into his microphone now.
Yes. Sounds better.
And I touched his gavel.
Ooh, he's going to be mad. More mad about that
I
than
made
anything.
a proclamation.
Yeah, Big E cracked the smelling salt before the show today. But yeah, one of those days where this is a bad week for Jay. He's working on a million other things, and so something's got to give. And finally, he was like, "Dude," he was dying last night. I could see it in his face. So we'll be down a man today. He'll be back tomorrow. So don't worry about that. But yeah, it's good to be here on a Wednesday. Dare I say a big show? We got a lot to get to today. Paris Hilton. We'll give you an update on the story we watched the other day.
She should be happy about this, by the way. I haven't heard her name in months.
That's
maybe a
true.
Year.
That's true.
Maybe she doesn't care about that anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. A flag brawl. You can see that coming. Some deaths on a cruise. A cop is sued. 4th of July coming up. President Christie. Does that have a nice ring to it? We'll talk Ben and Jen too. I did want to mention as well, it is technically the 1st of July, and we have a new advertiser.
Yeah.
Coming on board with the show today. And it's very cool because every advertiser we have listens to this show.
Yeah.
Which is so rare. Usually it's like, we're putting our money in a few different places, but this is another person who is a big listener. It's Krista from Remax Suburban. And so I wanted to welcome her into the mix. Real estate market is hot right now, of course. Krista Jelski of Remax Suburban will get you your home sold fast. And as a gift to TDC listeners, Krista will pay for your whole house to be cleaned before it hits the market. That's
Holy
huge.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, when I've thought about selling my house, it's like,
would she pay for this house to be cleaned?
I don't know. Yeah, there'd be a lot of cleaning to do. Check out Krista's website at KristaSellsHouses.com or call her anytime. Creeps don't call her. Call her if you're interested in selling or buying a house. God damn it.
Sounds like what you should do though is if you're about to sell your house, just trash the fuck out of it. And then tell her you listen to the Detroit Cast.
586-918-0900.
No, she's really cool though, dude. She came out to that comedy thing a few weeks ago and I met her and she was kind of already had it in, I think, thinking about it or something, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But she, like you said, she's a listener totally. Like, not just kinda. She's a listener. She showed up to the freaking comedy thing, a few weeks ago with her and I believe her boyfriend, unfortunately. But
you didn't just say that, did you?
I know. I didn't want to. But I didn't want to. But
you're blowing up her scene. Yeah.
As if that will stop the creeps that would call her from the house. Like, I was gonna call her and have her come clean my house for me, but boyfriend.
That's a nightmare. The idea of selling a home or buying a home is such a fucking headache. That it's I don't know, to have someone else worry about that is the greatest thing in the world. So call her and welcome to the mix. She's really excited to be on board. Like I said, she's a big listener of the show, so we're excited to have her. So welcome, Krista. Now, Ben and Jennifer. I know you're a big fan of Ben and Jennifer. Bennifer. They're getting a divorce.
I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
My everything I think about love is shot out the window now.
Yeah, dear Ben and Jennifer. Wasn't that what was his name?
I don't remember much of it. You know what, dude? I'll be honest, when Bennifer was really going on, I think that was a period where I wasn't necessarily full on into pop culture. Like,
what was his name? Who would answer the phone? Music. Why can't I remember his fucking name?
I don't remember.
He did the Ben and Jen song, but I think it was about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I think so. I think it was before Jennifer Garner.
I hate to admit it. Yeah, I hate to admit it, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, they've officially split just a day after their 10th anniversary. Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do, right? E?
Exactly. Yeah, well, gotta move on. Get out
I
there.
wonder if he'll ever recover.
I know. I wonder if Ben Affleck will he be okay? Will he find love again? That's what I'm worried about. Will he find love again?
They confirmed today that they are in fact divorcing. Actually, this broke late today too. The pair have 3 children together. Mark, Luke, and Brian. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, their names aren't Mark, Luke, and Brian.
Right.
Their names are Violet, Serafina, and Samuel.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 2 of them aren't totally. The middle one was the crazy one to me. The other 2 aren't.
Who will just be called Sarah, right?
Right.
Won't they just call her Sarah?
Yeah.
In a joint statement, the couple said, after much thought and careful consideration, we've made the difficult decision to divorce. We go forward with love and friendship for one another.
Oh,
bullshit.
Yeah, right.
And a commitment to
Fake.
co-parenting our children, whose privacy we ask to be respected during this difficult time. This will be our only comment on this private family matter. Thank you for your understanding. So what happens to their assets? These are the funniest things. I think
Right.
it's so easy to get divorced when you're sitting on $150 million.
It's way easier, dude.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Ben
think-
Affleck will just walk away. He's not going to sit there and be like, oh my God, I'm about to live in that singles apartment and, eat
Yeah.
Cheerios and
bitch is taking half my shit.
right. It's just kind of like, there you go. I can go fuck some nice young ass again.
Yeah, he's probably balls deep in some chick as we
Oh,
speak.
if he's not, I'd be shocked. Honestly, dude, you're Ben Affleck.
Vincent James.
There we go.
Start at the very beginning with his little. Dear Ben and Jennifer, forever love is so hard to find.
Jesus Christ.
It always seems to slip right through our hands.
So touching.
Forever love is always on my mind. Vincent James, this douchebag. Oh, were you trying to hear me sing? You
Yes,
son
I
of
was
a
trying
bitch?
I was trying to pull the headphones off and hear you a cappella.
It looks like they pulled down the version with the intro that you're talking
Really?
about, where he
Dear
talks
Ben
about
and Jennifer.
how Ben and Jen's love is so
Yeah.
much. It probably happened right around the time they got divorced.
May it truly be forever love.
That lasted all of like a year.
Yeah, if that. Oh God, this guy was such a douchebag. Ever love. I don't think I've ever heard this far into the song.
I don't even remember this, dude. I guess
You don't?
Not really.
Dude, we used to call this guy
Yeah.
because he had the Ben and Jen song. He dedicated to them. That's how it got onto our
Where did he
radar.
dedicate it? I don't get
Because
it.
it was Jennifer Lopez at the time and Ben.
Oh,
Everyone
okay.
was calling him Benifer. It was one of the,
Oh, when I said Bennifer, dude, I was referring to the wrong relationship, wasn't I? That's my bad.
yeah. Well, it goes back to Lopez and Affleck, but he was like, "Dear Ben and Jennifer, may your love truly be forever love," and then he'd go
Oh,
into
what
the
a-
hook. It was so cheesy. But we called him one day, and he was in his studio. He has a studio off his house, and he answered the phone, music. So whenever he was in the house in his studio, he would answer the phone, music.
Music line.
So we started answering the phone like that
That's
for a while.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Dude. I don't know how. I miss, there's things like, the thing is, like, this, like, even though I did listen, I've told you 4 times when you're shocked about things I don't know. The problem is, like, everybody, I had times in my life where I only listened to for 15 minutes because I was driving to work. So
Yeah.
sometimes I do miss some of those. I didn't hit everything, like,
I was in the unfortunate position of having to listen to 5 hours of it every day of the week.
the unfortunate position.
No, I'm kidding. No, but
Oh,
yeah,
what a burden.
we did though. We played that a ton. I'm always surprised. Like Grandma Burry was another one you weren't aware.
I
of.
know there's a few, but again, I don't know. I started listening in like 2000 to 2001. So
But
I
those
think,
drops were played
but I
forever.
think, but see, the thing is, you gotta. I think there's times where even drops could have been played, and I mean, as much as I listened, I never went on to necessarily forums and found out where a drop was. So just that Tiger Woods one that we just played a month ago or something.
Yeah.
I
What
didn't
happened?
Right, I'm hilarious drop. I've said it several times in my own life with me and the Chubbs will sit there. What happened?
Yeah,
But I didn't even know who that was for a while. So,
Really?
yeah.
that's funny. Anyway, back to Ben and Jennifer. They've got about $150 million that they're reportedly worth.
What does she do? I forget.
She's an actress.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and a very successful one. They're using a mediator and business managers to work it all out before the divorce, and they will share custody of the kids. TMZ is reporting that there is no prenup in place, but they have both amassed a fairly equal amount of wealth, where it's unlikely Garner will be granted spousal support. They say that 10-year anniversary is a big marker for judges.
Huh.
Usually means a judge would give her more financial support due to the length of the marriage. Their decision had nothing to do with it and claims she doesn't need support.
Maybe she should have cut ties a few days earlier, huh?
Yeah, well, it had nothing to do with it. Property at stake. This is unbelievable when you're talking about.
I don't even want to hear it almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all they've got is a LA ranch in Pacific Palisades. They've got a Manhattan apartment, a ski chalet in Montana, and a 83-acre estate on Hampton Islands near Savannah, Georgia.
Jesus, dude. Can I just have like a quarter, like not even a quarter, a percent of that?
Yeah.
And I'd be fine.
Just a small percentage of that. They say Jen and Ben had been in therapy for years. When things were rough, they go more often. Many had observed them spending more and more time apart, which is, it's sad. You think of Ben Affleck and he's drowning his sorrows. He's probably sitting at home all day.
Right, I'm sure. Dude.
Devastated by this.
As we said, probably eating, Cheerios and beefaroni, I'm sure.
If he's even eating.
Right.
If he's even eating. I mean, he's probably got no appetite at all.
I mean, how is he going to ever find another chick? Again, he probably, a lot of times you have that one hot chick that you got, and he probably is going to just think about it the rest of his life. Never be able to recover.
Right. But he's been spotted playing high stakes poker for several hours in Vegas.
Probably fucking $100,000 hands.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Just fucking roll, fucking drinks just coming up to the table. Hot ass chicks, just, oh my God.
Ben Affleck, he's surrounded by 19-year-olds.
Well, dude,
he's playing high stakes poker.
Look what it was like just when we were sitting at freaking Twin Peaks with Justin Fourier.
Joseph
Fourier. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
But and not to put it, a Detroit Lion, but he's not Ben Affleck.
No.
And that's Joseph
and he could
Fourier.
have pulled any chick he wanted out of that bar.
So imagine what's going on with Ben Affleck when especially once these go out. All that hot ass. It's not that they cared that he was married before, but now they'll really be like, oh, I could be the next in line.
Yeah, I could be the next Benifer.
The next girl to suck his dick and make money off of it.
He was spotted again gambling in Vegas in the early hours of May 14 while his wife was in New York, suggesting that he'd left the kids with a babysitter. On Garner's birthday on April 17th, he was seen at a solo trip in Canada without his wedding ring. Devastated. I mean, he was probably just sulking the whole time in Canada.
I feel so bad for him. I just hope that, again, I know we keep saying it, but I just hope he's not going to break this. Isn't going to break him down.
They were last pictured together June 14th on a family trip. On a family trip, I was like, oh, wow, they were out as a family to the farmer's market down the street from their house. I don't know if you'd call that a family trip, would you? Really? A family trip to the farmer's market down the street.
Yeah.
Garner discussed her marriage in May, noting that the relationship required patience. The words that get thrown out there. You just go on a ride together because you don't know who you're going to be when you first have a baby, and you don't know who your partner is going to be. You have to just hang in there while you figure it out. And we have a lot of patience for each other.
Oh, you do you? Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, not anymore. I mean,
they did.
Back then she did.
In April?
Yeah. They had patience.
That is the key. Well, I don't know the key to relationships, but what I hear, that's a key.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it'd be so hard if you were loaded like that. I know I hate to bring it back to money, but you think about
it is
like, dude, you're a fucking rock star. Like, who settles down and gets married when you've got everything?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Ben Affleck, all those roles with him and freaking I can't think of his freaking writing.
Matt Damon,
right? Him and Matt Damon. You guys could just.
He's Batman. He's in the new Batman.
Right, dude. Fuck. And
you see him, by the way. Look at the sweatshirt he's wearing.
Oh, nice.
That's in L.A. He's wearing a Detroit sweatshirt.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's almost too bad it didn't have Detroit versus everybody. Oh, that's pretty sweet, though. Yeah. That's pretty cool, for real.
If you just took those kids off his hand, he's holding hands with a couple kids. If you just replace those with like 19-year-olds.
Yeah. I wasn't even
perfect.
I wasn't even looking at the kids. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Who cares? And he won't, and he will, but he won't. It'll be easy when you can just shell some money at him. And that was usually when I was talking about drops. That was one of my favorites. I used to say with shoves is what is it like? I think it goes like if I ever have any problems, just throw some money at it and say go away. I used to say that with my credit card all the time and just say go away.
I'm trying to remember what that drop is from.
And see, I have no clue.
That was from a Budweiser commercial, wasn't it? Yeah.
Might have been.
It was one of those speech ones where he was giving the toast.
Yeah, it might have been the toast. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, see, that's one where I didn't know. But me and Chubbs used to say it to each other
Yeah.
all the time. You have some problems, just throw some money at it and say, go away. Which, of course, I can't do, but Ben can.
Did you see Chris Christie announced he's running for president?
Well, kind of. You saw me watching his announcement upstairs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what I saw was, in my opinion,
He picked up on his wife.
an ugly family.
Well, yeah, dude.
And his son included, and his daughters, not just his weird-looking wife, but
The way they do this, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who we're talking about, he claimed what's left of the Republican presidential race, straight talk mantle, is what he said. He claimed, Jersey Governor Christie claimed what's left of the. Oh, okay. They're saying he claimed what's left of the race, promising to run as a no-nonsense conservative. His children didn't look all that thrilled. If you see their faces, Sarah, Patrick, Bridget, and Andrew standing next to their mom.
the
Mary
boy
Pat.
really didn't to me. Like I don't know why the boy stood out at me, but like I don't know what image you're looking at there. But then when I was watching it,
Look at him.
yeah, that looks like the look I was
he's
looking
shooting
at.
a death stare at his dad.
Oh my god!
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can say
I'm
it.
about to say something that doesn't. If there was ever like a kid that you were like thinking that maybe he was like a homo, but he didn't think his dad would be okay with it. Does that kind of look like I'm like maybe one of those kids that's just like not ready to tell dad yet?
Yeah,
I'm not.
maybe not ready to tell dad yet.
I don't know. It's like whatever, but it just look how he's dressed. He's got those. I don't know.
He claims, I mean what I say what I mean, and that's what America needs right now. Truth and hard decisions today will lead to growth and opportunity tomorrow. He spoke without a teleprompter. And as a candidate for president, I want to promise you just a few things.
What a fat ass. Just a fat ass.
A campaign without spin. Yeah, right. You're going to get what I think, whether you like it or not, whether it makes you cringe every once in a while or
Shut the
not.
fuck up. You're a campaign without spin.
I'm sorry. Did you guys see him playing baseball? Look at him playing baseball for.
I think I did actually
in New York
I
at the charity game in New York.
I didn't see video, but I do think I saw images of his fat ass trying to.
Dude,
what size are those pants?
I don't know, 80s. No, go to the ones where he's wearing the white shirt and he's got the nice bunt in front, or the white pants. I'm sorry, the white pants and the blue shirt. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god!
Like, dude.
Oh my god!
Is that a camel? Is that a ball? Do we see a ball? I think we see a ball protruding.
Something. Some sort of.
Who talked him into that? Who said, "Follow me here, Governor. We're going to put you in some really tight baseball pants and a tight jersey. That belt looks like it's hanging on for dear life."
Fucking waist. Look at
he's an egg. He's an egg.
Doesn't he kind of look like a woman? Like from the waist down? Like, does it even look like a man?
It definitely looks like a woman when you zoom in on that.
Look at that.
And that
is that a dickhead or a ball? What is that? What are we looking at there, K-Dog? It looks like a little bit of toe. It looks like a little camel toe.
Zoom back in how you had it.
That is his crotch zoomed in.
I know, but is that a ball or a helmet?
It's a mystery.
I think it's a helmet, to be honest.
You think it's a helmet?
I do. But even with that there, it's a helmet, dude. It's totally a helmet.
I think I see some definition on that helmet.
God, how much does it suck for politicians like within the last blank years? Like, you know what I mean? 50 years ago, no radio station would be able to sit here and zoom in 20 times. He's got a dickhead sticking out of his fat ass pants. You know what I mean? And here we are.
But can that guy? I think of that dude running for president, and that image is a career ender. I feel like that's right up there with. We're going to Washington. We're going to Michigan. You know, that's right up there with one of those, like, yeah, that's unsurvivable. You can't wear that outfit and then be president. You just can't.
And I'm serious. Take away like the 20 times zoom here so you can kind of see that head, what we think is a head. I think it looks like a fat female. Like, I don't even think it looks like a male if you kind of take your eye a little bit away from that. It's a horrible look no matter what.
I don't know. When was the last time we had a president that looked like that?
Taft.
I was going to say Taft. I was going to say
Taft
or
Taft?
Polk. I was going to say Polk, maybe.
I mean, you have to go back how many years before it was like
who died in the bathtub? Was that Pope or Polk?
Elvis.
No. He died one died in a bathtub, right? I thought it was like Polk.
Roosevelt was huge.
Yeah, he was a fat ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking Taft too, though.
All right, here's the fattest president. William Howard Taft was the heaviest at 333
Yeah,
pounds.
that's not happening again.
Oof.
No way will there be 3 bills
Yeah.
as a president again.
Nah.
I don't believe so.
No.
We have Grover Cleveland at 275.
Yeah.
William-
How tall, though? Does it say how tall?
Not in this list, but I do have heights on some of the people.
Yeah.
I'd have to,
okay.
I'd have
That's
to
all right.
cross-reference. It's
That's
tough.
okay. That's all right.
Third is William McKinley at 233 pounds. Zachary Taylor, 230. Theodore Roosevelt, it's 237. So that's not in the right order at all.
I would have thought he was more than 237. He must have been short.
Oh, okay. I see what they're doing. They're doing pounds over BMI. So
Body mass index.
Theodore Roosevelt had a better BMI. That's why he came there. And then you have Chester A. Arthur at 238 pounds. Bill Clinton at 234.
Yeah, but he's tall, isn't he? Isn't Clinton like 6'2" or 6'3" or something?
Let's see.
Yeah, you're right. I
Bill
don't think
Clinton, 6'2".
I really,
okay.
even though I used to make fun of him for being fat, I never really felt
Yeah,
like
you
I
don't
mean,
think of him as just this. I know that was the joke. SNL did that where he was jogging to McDonald's
Yeah.
and eating fries from other people's plates, and he loved burgers. But
Yeah, but he does have a BMI of 28.3.
is that bad?
That's borderline obese. I think 30 puts you into morbidly obese.
Oof. So he's morbidly obese when we're looking at Christie there.
Oh yeah, I wonder what his. What
He
he's
had
doing.
lap band, I think. I'm pretty sure he had lap band recently, which I don't understand. Is it a sign of weakness? Is that the problem? Because we've had this discussion about presidents that are bald. We're like, when was the last bald president?
yeah.
And you got to go back quite a ways. I don't know what it is. Is it when you look at someone like Governor Christie? To me, I think it's hard. I think when people are living life and dealing with children and the daily struggles of work and life and just kind of struggling through,
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to get exercise time in.
It is much easier to be fit when you're single or,
Well-
or even in a relationship, but not with kids and stuff like that. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I
Especially kids.
But when you think of someone like a governor, a New Jersey
why would
governor,
you really care?
well, no. My thought is you have enough people around you. Like if I had my way, if I could afford it, I'd have a chef. Like
Oh,
you'd
I
have
get
someone
what you-
cooking for you that could make unbelievable meals that were healthier, and it'd be easy to lose that weight. You would think if you
Yeah.
had that team. Jimmy Kimmel, you look at Jimmy Kimmel, you
Oh
can
my
tell
God.
that somebody is clearly cooking for him.
It was funny because actually the funny thing about Kimmel is when you read that article, remember when he started after the Man Show and obviously all that other stuff, and he got that. He tried originally to, I think that he was just going to keep his persona. He wasn't going to necessarily worry about this losing weight. And then
Mhm.
I think, ratings and this and that. And then I read some article one time where he realized, shit, you do have to kind of conform to what they see as,
Yeah.
as a late night host being. And look at him now. He's obviously
Yeah,
insane
it's way
better
thinner.
than he used to be.
I was watching an episode of Entourage not long ago, and it happened to be the one where they went on Kimmel's
Oh,
show,
yeah.
and it was like, holy shit!
Right at the beginning when it was actually Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Mhm.
I don't know why don't they just change the name when it's not live anymore? I guess
I don't
get
know.
it, but anyway, yeah.
But yeah, the set was totally
Well,
different.
remember,
and-
he really tried to. And I know this is kind of off on a tangent, but if you remember, when he came out with that, like he really wanted to do something different. He did not want to just do the atypical night show. Remember, it was going to be live, and he wasn't going to lose weight necessarily. And I think he ended up finding out that wasn't working
yeah.
or something because it definitely changed.
Well, they do all subscribe to that model, like come out, do a monologue,
Right.
then go to do your funny video for the day,
Right.
and then go do your interview, and they're all kind of doing that. And I like Kimmel.
No, I do too. I actually
Were
wish,
you working with us when he came in?
No, I would have loved
No.
to meet him. That would have been cool.
He was super fucking cool.
yeah.
He was. His band was really cool. 'Cause it was when he was in town for the Super Bowl
Oh,
in 05.
Yep.
And he was doing the show at oh God, where was he doing it? Somewhere
Fillmore,
downtown.
just maybe I don't
And
know.
it was crazy to get in there to that show. Jessica Alba was hosting.
wow.
Yeah, and so me and goddammit son Derek
Oh, really nice.
we're backstage or in the green room or whatever with Alba's dad and Cash, her husband,
Wow.
getting hammered drunk.
Really?
They were a blast to party
Nice.
with. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, they were. And
You-
but yeah, it was nuts.
I never met him, and you have technically a better story than. But I do think that to speak to him being kind of cool, when I saw Corolla that like 2 years ago, if you remember, I kind of went and saw Corolla do his little show, but you know what I mean?
Was he doing his podcast live or was he doing a stand-up?
It was stand-up, but it wasn't really stand-up. It was more him kind of telling stories, you know, kind of humorous stories, but it wasn't necessarily a stand-up. I wouldn't define it as stand-up.
Yeah, he wasn't just doing setup punchline.
No. But one cool thing he said about Kimmel, and it just to me speaks to him being so cool, was at the end, Corolla really tried to do this kind of like inspirational thing about, because you know, you look at Corolla and he was in his still late 20s, even early before he got his break. Like he was doing construction, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then he talks about meeting Kimmel, changing everything, and then Kimmel
wasn't he his like fighting instructor or something? Wasn't he working out with him?
Yes, something
like Kimmel had a show in LA,
right? He was on radio. And yeah. But real quick, the whole point of the story was Kimmel had just resigned last year. It was just recent. He had resigned with ABC for a couple $1 million or whatever it was.
Probably 10.
Right, exactly. And Corolla just said that like Jimmy never, all the years he's known him, has never bring up money. And he always just had, and he, not only that, but he had like this philosophy that he kind of gave to other people and was his philosophy. And he told people, and that was just do what you like to love doing. Get good at it and it will just come. Don't worry about it. And I think that just speaks to somebody who's doing what he loves to do. He wasn't doing it for the money. He said Adam has never heard him bring up money to him ever. He says he's never heard him say, oh, I got $10 million or.
Yeah. I think Kimmel's famous too for picking up every tab everywhere.
He has totally stories about that, where if he goes out to dinner and the group and the crew was there, it's just whatever, you get paid, don't worry about it. He's got the tab.
Drew was like that too. Totally. which goes a long way. Drew was famous for whatever, and we ordered breakfast every day since I started there. And Drew would, I don't know, 4 days a week, unless he forgot a day or something, or every day he would just announce black chip and play. And he just throw down a hundy,
right,
and be like, breakfast on me, and everybody, the whole room would order food. And if we went to lunch or went to dinner anywhere, it was just like, there was no point in even trying to pay the tab. Like Drew had it. And I think that goes a long way for morale for a lot of things.
Dude. And then just for, even for me as an intern, when you have, that guy just paying out money, or there was even a few times I like had to let out his dogs or something. Yeah. And you can think about other interns that I think there's places where it would just be like, oh, thanks. And it would be like every time he did that, I think it was either a 50 or 100 just for literally, and it was almost like on my way home. It wasn't even something that he needed to do.
Yeah. When Tess was out of town or something, it was like, oh, can you just go by and let the dogs out to piss?
Right. And like I said, it'd be like, here's 100 or something. But I think that's a conscious effort to realize down the line, not to have run just to be nice, but two, not to have assholes or appreciate the fact that you're there 5 days a week for free.
Yeah.
So,
and he did that with people that were paid. I mean, he wouldn't do that.
Right.
He would more so do that with you guys and stuff like that. But it made an impression on everybody. It made an impression on me when I was young, and Mark and you, and obviously.
And if I hadn't been with you and someday, and I went from there to another station or this or that, or, I mean, then I'm not going to go out there and have these fucking stories about him being, this guy being an asshole. And I think that, and I know maybe it doesn't matter to some people. You get enough money, it doesn't matter. But I think it should. And I think it says a lot about people that when they aren't like that.
Dude, there's no doubt about that there are radio hosts in this town who have reputations for just being cocksuckers to their staff.
Right.
To people that are helping them.
That
was never lost on Drew ever.
Yeah.
He went so out of his way. Still, I'm sure he still does. Goes way out of his way to make sure that.
Well, he certainly, even if take away the money, and we don't have to get on this,
I didn't mean to get off on a Drew tangent, but
he certainly, even if he wasn't, whether it was even money, I never had to get him coffee. I mean, and maybe there was, I mean, never, but it would be like rare, and it would be like, dude, we're coming back from break. Is there any, can you give me coffee?
Yeah, you'd almost be apologetic.
Right. It was, anyway, but we don't have to, that was a little.
Yeah, no, I know. There's a lot of little things like that you can point to where if anybody in the room had earned that respect and that place to be able to go, hey, fucker, get me a coffee.
Right.
Oh, and I would have been Drew.
I would never have, honestly, and if we sat here today, I wouldn't think about it in my mind. Because to be fair, when I wrote you that message that one time, I think in there I said, dude, even if it just meant getting you guys coffee or something to get me on a resume again. Yeah. So I would never have thought about it, but But you know
but
that
it
he
stood
did.
out when it was over.
But yeah, and then when I can meet people and they say how were they, I can say, dude, the guy didn't sit there and make me get him coffee or if he asked you to do something, it was pretty much for the show. Can you get copies? Can you look up an article?
Mhm.
So anyway,
do you think? I don't know. How
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry that we went
No. It's fine. It's fine. Governor Christie, though, I look at his daughters. They definitely got they got more dad in them than mom.
I mean, God, you could argue both in my mind.
Yeah, I think they both did. No.
I think they. No, what I was going to say is, I think.
You think she's really ugly? I think for him, he played out of his league a little bit. But.
He did, but I think that you could argue that the pot was faulted to begin with.
Yeah,
they weren't working with. I don't know.
He definitely looks thinner, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That'll be a tough road to hoe for him.
To me, it's not even her weight even necessarily. That face is just. She's like. I can't. I know that they didn't. Yeah. They can't. Who's ever listening can't see what I just did there, but I don't know that face. And she made that exact face the whole time during his speech. The one she's given right there in the red on the left.
Yeah.
Like she was doing that during his speech. Just whatever.
What is that? His daughter?
Yeah, that's his daughter. I don't.
She actually doesn't look that bad.
I was say I'm not seeing exactly what Eric is. I mean, she's not going to win any beauty contests.
Well,
but
dude, she's in like her absolute best. Although she should.
If you look at these, though, you can tell as young as they are that it's not going to go well. That's not going to. It's not going to end well. That's going down a road where you're going to see her on a baseball field one day looking like an egg.
There's a lot of future fat potential.
Yeah.
There.
Oh, yeah. There's more future fat potential there than his potential to end up in the White House. Is the truth there? I don't know. I do appreciate. I like watching old videos of Chris Christie when he gets into it with reporters, and he's like, "You can shut up or get the hell out of here. I don't give a damn." Like that guy, I appreciate. And he'll have to tone a lot of that shit down.
No, he's not going
presidential.
He's not going.
Yeah,
to.
right.
No spin.
Yeah, right.
Not going to spin.
So anyway, so that was the news today that he announced he's running. By the way, it sounds like there's some real.
Real quick, by the way, is he too late? Remember, his upside was like 4 years ago. He had that whole bridge thing. He's had a few things. I just think like,
his state's not doing well financially. He'd point to, what was it, Hurricane Sandy, and how well we've recovered since then as a state.
It just seems like his stock was highest
in 2012.
Right? Yeah. To me, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention, but I just feel like. Well, that whole bridge thing, I know that's kind of gone away right now, but it happened. I mean, it seems like it's pretty obvious that
and there's still lawsuits pending from that, I believe.
How could there not be? So, anyway, I know. Whatever.
Well, whatever. Do you know ISIS and announcing their caliphate?
They're still going? I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, they are. They're still very successful.
I didn't realize that.
They're on an uptick. They're on the rise. It's been a year since they announced their caliphate. So happy anniversary to the ISIS.
Wow,
folks.
Congrats, guys. Come a long way.
They sure have. They've got an amazing team behind them.
Congrats. What an asshole.
But they're really worried. The FBI is setting up command centers, they announced today, in all 56 field offices across the country ahead of the 4th of July. To monitor potential terrorist threats. Local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies in the U.S. will be reporting any info about possible attacks to these command centers, where they'll then decide how they want to respond. The move comes amid these fears. There's tons of fears right now that something is going to happen in this country, like the 4th of July weekend. Yeah. They've said the terror group ISIS is working to awaken sleeper cells in Western nations after sympathizers were linked to the 3 back-to-back attacks in France, Kuwait, and Tunisia last Friday. Honestly, having an attack in Tunisia, I mean, even though it was spectacular, isn't that still like kind of hitting for the cycle in AAA? I mean,
I know, dude.
It's like, it's great. You threw a perfect game. Awesome in Tunisia.
Right. It is kind of funny. And I think it's funny, just obviously we talk about this all the time, but it's funny as Americans how much something is going to Jay says this a lot. Something's going to happen here before we even really care. Like that happened and it sucked. But does it, I haven't even thought. I mean, I know I know people aren't going to like to hear this, I guess, or it's going to make me sound like an asshole. But I haven't thought about it. I haven't been worried about it.
Yeah,
I feel bad, I guess, for those people that died, of course. But
do you?
I do, but
You thought a lot about them.
No,
You prayed about them at night.
No, I haven't. Not at all. Not for a second.
Yeah.
I do feel like I feel bad.
Would you?
In the sense that I don't want someone to die.
Would you though if it happened in Florida?
Yeah, I would.
More so?
Would I know?
Would you more so? Would you care?
Would I care?
Yeah.
I would.
Or would you still be like, that's
Well,
not in Florida? You know, that's
you
kind
kind of got me in a position where I don't care. But I would care in the selfish sense that damn, they're in Florida, a big thing.
Yeah.
Now it could be close. I'd care in that. I'd care in the sense that we should come on, dude.
I
Let's
think if people are being totally honest with
need
themselves, it's like, yeah, that's outrageous that happened
Sucks.
in Tunisia.
I mean, did you see anyone walking around? When did that happen? I'm trying to remember exactly.
Friday. Tunisia.
Did
All
people-
three of those were on.
Okay.
There was someone that got their head cut off and put on a stake somewhere.
Well, here's a
and-
great example, dude. No offense, but I worked on Saturday morning. I went to a party Saturday night. Not one person in my day brought that thing up. I didn't even know about it until Sunday.
Yeah.
So is that big? How big of a deal is it around here?
Isn't it kind of like Ebola? Like you hear about it, you're like, oh, that sucks. But until something happens in Ohio,
Right,
you're
yeah,
like, yeah,
totally is.
it's not really affecting my life in any way.
That's what I mean. It's like pitching a perfect game in AA ball. It's like, well, yeah, that's great, but
Right.
you know.
And the thing is, I think America, for us more than anything, not just because of the arrogance of America, but we have these oceans, and I think we just see it. Even though 9/11 happened, that was 13 or whatever. I don't know how exactly, 12, 13.
2001, so 14 years ago.
So
coming
that was
up on the 15th.
So that was 14 years ago, though. So, like, dude, there are kids now. If you're a 12-year-old now, that's not even on your mind that it happened.
No, there's no doubt.
So we just sit here and kind of go, I don't think it's going to happen here. And, of course, until it does, and then we all have to react and be outraged. But as you know.
Yeah. The FBI has been working to take known sympathizers for groups like ISIS off the streets in America before the 4th of July weekend hits. That could mean arresting sympathizers on U.S. soil on lesser charges, building a broader case while they're temporarily in custody over the holiday weekend. The FBI is specifically concerned about targets like shopping malls where large groups of people, little security.
Right, of course.
I wouldn't be caught dead in a mall this weekend. I got to be honest with you. No, thank you. Mike McCall, chairman of the House Committee on Homeland Security, has already warned Americans to remain vigilant. They always say that.
Right. I will be all weekend.
I'm extremely concerned
I'll be very vigilant.
that Syrian and ISIS recruiters can use the internet at lightning speeds to recruit followers in the United States with thousands of followers in the U.S. and then activate them to do whatever they want them to do, whether it's military installations, law enforcement, possibly a 4th of July event. Referring to the terrorist attacks in France, Tunisia, and Kuwait, he said, in light of these 3 attacks in 3 hours on 3 continents overseas, it shows that ISIS is not just regionalized, that the administration says, only in Iraq and Syria, but rather demonstrates a global threat. They can conduct external operations, and they're very savvy doing that over the internet. This week, ISIS made a promise of paradise and rewards in heaven for those who carry out attacks during the holy month of Ramadan, which is the other concern that Ramadan is going on. And experts are saying that threats should not be taken lightly. And they always kind of say that, have that hanging there.
Right. Oh, should not be taken lightly.
Right. But over the last couple of days, of course they are.
Who's really, I know you're reading that thing and it's been on CNN probably and whatever. Is anyone really, any civilians that are going to do something like you said, maybe the mall, maybe, I'm going up to Mackinac, people are going, places.
Yeah.
Is anyone really I'm not going to sit there for 1 second and think, but there's no reason. Mackinac Bridge is a pretty big deal. I know it's not, not necessarily. I'm thinking it wouldn't be the first thing that ISIS would really go after, but it's something. It's a landmark.
Well, all it would take is someone who's a sympathizer that lives near there.
Right.
You just don't know.
Exactly.
And, I would think that they'd be less likely to attack somewhere like New York City or LA, where that there's tons more law enforcement. And if you went and struck somewhere in Upper Michigan, who's really going to be on high alert in a station like that? I mean, maybe they are, but you just wouldn't think I think most people would think like you do, what are the odds?
And what are you going to do anyway? We can't let the terrorists win, by the way, Mike. If I don't go up north, then the terrorists have won. If I sit down here thinking, there could be an attack, the terrorists will have won then.
Yeah, but they've been very, very loud about it the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Really pinpointed. They keep saying, well, there's no specific threat, but we know during the month of Ramadan and what is that? Don't know why you'd be in a mall. You should be using the Amazon link.
That's
Yes,
a good point.
that's a very
No one
good
should
point,
even be
Kennard.
at the mall. You could just be shopping.
Yeah.
at
Why
your-
do they even have malls
right
anymore?
at your convenience to
Yeah.
the Amazon link on the DetroitCast.com, right?
That's right.
And just support the show. They have malls so I can go look at fucking young girls and be a creep.
That's right.
That's why they go. Because
That's
that's what
right.
I like them for.
So yeah, use our Amazon link.
Yeah. And speaking of Zot Ford and Holly,
Yeah, Jay's not here, so you got to do
right,
the
we're
read.
closer than you think. Located on I-75 on exit 98, literally right off the highway. Plus, for a limited time, if you come into the dealership and say, "We love peeling the layers of Biggie's onion, but we fear for his anal hymen is in grave danger," we will give you a free autograph. It's gonna be hard for them to say that saying when I say it wrong, I guess. Autograph T-shirt and hat after you take delivery on your new or used car, truck, or SUV, folks. Supply of autographed shirts and hats is extremely limited, so this offer is only while supplies last. Check out their massive inventory and sick deals at zotford.com. That's SZOTT. Get there.
Very good. We got another hazing incident.
Yeah, boy.
Happened in Virginia. Olympic hopeful swimmer was he joined the University of Virginia swim team in hopes of getting closer to his goal of making an Olympic squad. He's filed a lawsuit against 5 of his former teammates. Anthony Marcantonio, he's 19, claims he was forced to leave the team after undergoing horrific hazing and then reporting it to his coach, leading to threats of violent sexual assault from 5 upperclassmen. What is with the sexual assault?
Dude, that hazing, we've talked about it so many times.
Yeah.
Who doesn't haze? Guys, that's just what guys do. But yeah, if it really is real, like if this, really, like he said something like, "Come on, guys," and then it's like, "Well, if you report this, there'll be sexual, we'll fuck you in the butt." I mean,
Yeah.
like what? You want to be on the team, don't you? You want to be on the team, don't you? We all
Yeah.
did this.
Was this always going on with colleges? I don't know. I remember when Jay and I played soccer in high school, and we would have tournaments at different, like up north or something, and you'd go away for a weekend, and they'd put all the guys on the team into a room at some cabin,
Right.
and there'd just be 20 bunk beds, and yeah, you'd grab the young kid and tape him to a tree or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like threaten to shave a kid's
Maybe a
head.
little pink belly, or I don't know.
Yeah, blow a couple guys, stuff like that, like innocent stuff,
Of course.
but I don't remember sticking fingers in kids' asses.
Or would I want to? Like,
No,
like,
it seems like that would be the punishment. Like, you're going to have to finger that young kid.
right.
Like, no team is worth that.
No, I would. Yeah, I would leave a team too, by the way. If that really was. And dude,
You would not. You'd probably.
I would. Even
Wait, all I got to do is do what? Finger his butt gladly. Get over here, you. Chasing him around the field.
no,
Help me
man.
get his pants off.
No.
No, I know. I could see you being hazed. Were you ever hazed?
yes.
You were?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I think the hazing.
What did they do to you?
But I would say that I think the hazing that was done to me was just things that have been done to every. Like there was a lot, like in
Incoming.
right? Like in cross country, we had this thing called getting ponded, and the freshmen. There was just this pond, disgusting kind of pond, one of those like just mucky, disgusting ponds around our track. And at one point during like the first month or so, the seniors would take the freshmen and they would just toss
Chuck
you
'em.
into the pond.
Yeah.
And it was kind of shitty, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then the track, we did something called the freshmen would have to, eventually at one point they would do this He-Man sit-up where they would stop. You'd go off on like the cool down and they'd take one of the freshmen randomly and say like, oh, you got to do a sit-up. And they would like, some guy would close your eyes and then you would do it. And then when you did it, it'd be just into the ass of another dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
But,
remember
like-
stuff like that
But
too.
that's like nothing. Like it's like, oh God, come on, that's fucking gross. And then then you're done, and that was kind of it. It was really.
I thought that one, the way I remember it was you'd tell someone to do a sit up, but you'd have someone hold their shoulders.
maybe that's
And so it made it like, you'd hold them down so they couldn't do it. So they're trying really hard
yeah.
to
And then
do
they
it.
let it go,
And then you let it go and boom, right into a guy's ass.
maybe that's how it went. I honestly don't remember. It's been a while since I did it, but maybe
The atomic sit up. That's what it was. Is this video one?
I think so. Who knows what the audio is like though?
So they got a kid laying down. They're going to cover his eyes. So he's trying to lift up his kid.
Something better actually happened here. I don't see anything.
Oh, so they're doing it to a few guys
Oh, to show them that
to
it's
show that it's just, oh, we're just trying. You're trying to do a sit up.
Yeah, that's totally what happened there. See, nothing's gonna happen, and then it does, really.
That is the allegation tonight against a fraternity at Cornell University. Filed by the mother in
But that very much is a boys will be boys thing.
That's
more.
a total boys will be boys. When you
And
start
then you're
getting
done,
into,
you're done. You did yours, and then it's kind of like, okay, whatever. It's
Yeah.
done with.
yeah.
Yeah, when you start getting to this,
They said that the swimmers were ordered to participate in touching each other's dicks. Like, that's where you lose me, where it's like, who's sitting around at the round table and goes, all
we're
right,
gonna make these.
I got it. I'm going to make the freshman grab my dick and balls. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, guys,
That'll
nothing.
get 'em.
Right? Yeah,
That'll show 'em.
That'll show them.
See if you can dip it in their mouth, too. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, throw a little blowjob in there. You're right, dude. Like, what? I don't get it.
Eating live goldfish, whatever.
That's-
Drinking tons of alcohol, whatever. But the whole, like, yeah, we're going to make them drink alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to make them eat live fish. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
We're going to make them suck our dicks.
Yeah.
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 Touch our dicks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to fire the crowd up. Like,
I know. Who are the other guys? That's what I don't get. Like the other seniors, they're on board with this as the hazing. Why has that become a thing? Hootie hoo, finger up your. Oh, let's turn all the lights and have them finger our buttholes. Okay.
yeah. Who's this a punishment for? Us or them? I mean, it sounds
Like,
brutal.
Sounds like a lose.
Ultimately, they said the Charlottesville authorities were not able to make a case as a burden of proof in hazing situations requires the individual be physically injured. So if you're trying to make a claim that
Yeah.
I was injured because of this,
I don't know, man. I know Jay doesn't always side with the idea of emotional injury, and I wouldn't sue. By the way, let's be clear. I think I would just quit the team or something.
which he did.
Right. But I think the idea that I think you very much could argue that you're emotionally injured from the idea of guys trying to say like, you gotta touch my penis and shit.
Yeah. I don't.
Well, that dude, not okay.
You touch your own penis multiple times a day.
Well, what? Okay.
Like, well, they made you touch a dick and then you moved on.
But what if you got? I mean, I'm saying, but okay. Well, what if you got waste? It depends on how much they're really making them touch. What if they got you wasted? You said, "Oh, wasted eating fish," and then like they're literally having you jack them off or some shit.
I think that goes over the line. I would
Right.
think. Pretty sure that crosses the line, but I don't know if you could file for injury damages.
See, the problem is, though, this kid. You know what? Now the thing is, this kid obviously wants to be an Olympian. So now by doing this, as much as it sucks, by doing this lawsuit, his name's out there. Is he gonna try to go to another school?
Yeah, he's going to Northwestern now.
Well, don't they all know? Oh, well, that kid is the one.
Yeah, he's the pussy that turned us in. They said he described what happened during the hazing incident after Augie Bush, the coach, heard a report from someone outside the organization and questioned the first-year swimmer. So the coach got wind of something going on and then went to him and he fessed up like, yeah, they made me suck his dick or jack him off or something. Bush, while reporting what happened, he's the coach again, to the necessary persons, apparently told Mark Antonio to be careful and no longer swim at the same time as the upperclassmen he claims were in charge of the hazing. See,
so
that's
what kind of happened there? Like the coach heard something about it. He went to the kid. The kid said, "This is what they made me do." He didn't really want to, maybe right away. Then he said it, and the coach said, "What? Just stay away from them."
Yeah, don't go to the pool the same time as then, because there were other threats. The men had threatened to violently assault Mark Antonio in a sexual manner if he told anyone about what happened. This made it impossible for him to train, and ultimately he left the team.
That is, you know what, dude? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to call him a pussy. You know, I would be the first one to usually be like, just be a fucking. It's not being a pussy, I guess.
Yeah.
But dude, I can see where he's coming from, man. Of like, they're making them touch their penises, and then they're like, if you tell anybody, we'll just do more. And
yeah,
what do you really do?
What I don't get is the idea that seems like classic bullying.
Yeah.
When you take someone, I've never understood that at all. Where in a school, it's like, well, we told the principal and the vice principal 100 times that this was going on, that this kid was being bullied in school every day by these individuals, and they never did shit about it. Like, I don't get that. I would think that a principal would go, this ends today. Anybody lays a hand on this kid,
Right.
and
And
you know,
that's the
you
thing, dude.
can't do anything after school grounds. But you would think on the school grounds you'd
Right.
be able to keep a couple kids that are being picked on all the time out of harm's way.
It's funny,
Maybe that's a pipe dream, though.
right, but you always hear that, and you know what? Sometimes you'll hear when you say that, when they say it's 100 times, they're saying, "Dude, this one kid is just being railed on by these same." They'll always say, "Well, we can't really do anything. We've talked to the individuals."
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you, dude. In high school, bullshit that you
Yeah.
really couldn't say. Look at kids.
Yeah.
This is obviously not just one time where it was, kind of
I mean-
boys will be boys. You've been freaking 10, 20 times we're hearing that you're pushing this kid down the hall or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You're not doing it anymore. And if you do, you're fucking against
You're getting expelled.
right.
This ends today. If I hear one more report of this bullshit going on, you're all expelled. And you can go home to your parents and explain why the principal expelled you for this bullshit. I'm sorry. Like, that bothers me because we all knew those kids in school who were picked on constantly by people. And I don't know, Ida, what level you were.
Yeah.
But that shit always drove me nuts. That always, it always seemed like such a pussy, cowardly thing to do, to take the weakest kid in the school and just fuck with him round the clock. I've
Right.
never understood that. I've never gotten like, that gang mentality. Never.
No,
I've never understood it. And I'm sorry that at that stage in life, it seems really important to kids.
yeah.
It seems very like this is the most important thing in the world, is how you're perceived in the classroom, in the hallways. The most minor of fails in any aspect of life can haunt you through your school days.
Yeah.
And so I think there is a responsibility especially in this day and age, with bullying that goes on, some of the shit you hear, it's like, really?
Dude, I wouldn't want to be a middle school / high school kid right now. I wouldn't, because of social networking, because of Twitter, because of Facebook. They have things now, man, where it's like everyone always says that thing where, you know what I mean? Like, well, it turns out that really this girl didn't give blowjobs to 20 guys at a party. But man, now on Facebook, they just start saying, yeah. Jonah Lynn was at John's house and she blew 5 guys, and then they put it on Twitter, and then the whole high school sees it, and people just, even though they know they didn't maybe do it, it
doesn't matter. It lives with you forever. Yeah.
I would never want to be. I'm so glad. I like social networking personally. I've been addicted to it, so it actually works out good that we kind of want to do it on stuff like we do, because I actually already enjoy it. But I am thankful every day that I didn't have it in high school.
Well, there's such a difference when you get to our age, your age, and dealing with that stuff. Like, you're just, when you get older and go around this world a little bit more, you realize how unimportant a lot of that stuff is and how meaningless a lot of that stuff is. But I absolutely remember at that age where it's like, it mattered what t-shirt you wore to school. It mattered if you wore a hat to school. So those little tiny things that don't mean shit in the big picture,
right,
mattered at that age. So yeah, you're right. The idea of going to a school where social media, you can make anybody look like a fool and an asshole on Twitter, Facebook,
right,
if you want to do that.
Well, the Mean Girls, my God, you watch like that movie, The Mean Girls, with Lindsay Lohan back in the day. The Mean Girls back then, in that movie, I mean, I know it's kind of a joke, but that was actually kind of a good movie. And it was dead on how some of those girls would work. And my God, I can only imagine, again, we talk about it sometimes on here, but I can only imagine really, really what it would be like to be a kid in high school and have those girls, the three, like a pack like that on Twitter, and what damage they could really do to you if they wanted to.
Yeah.
There's a movie, actually, it's kind of a cheesy, corny chick flick, but this movie right now that just came out recently, I watched it when we were on break a few weeks ago. It's called Duff, The Duff, and it stood for it's pretty new. I hadn't even heard of it, honestly.
New to what? Netflix?
New to Redbox.
Redbox, okay.
But I hadn't actually even heard of it. But what it stood for was Designated Ugly Fat Friend, which we all kind of, every guy's ever joked about. Of course, we all have. But it was, man, this movie really did a good job showing what it would be like in high school. And it was kind of a corny chick flick, really, a romantic comedy in the end.
Yeah.
But it totally did a good job. And like this girl, the premise is this one girl finds out she's the ugly friend of her group.
Which one?
The
bottom right?
The bottom right, yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever.
And who's a cute girl? She would not be considered an ugly girl in any school, but only in a movie.
Right, of course. But in the movie, the kind of the main guy there ends up kind of revealing to her that this is her. And she sets up this whole thing, and she gets embarrassed by this film that was put out because he's gonna end up helping her get popular, and she's gonna help him get this, corny.
Yeah, we've seen that movie a million times.
But when he's opening her up at that mall scene, the typical, again, kind of those movies, the mall scene where she's changing on clothes and finally opening up. Someone films it and just puts it on, YouTube, Facebook, and the whole school sees it. It goes viral. And it just, you realize that you did stuff. We all did stuff back in high school that, man, if everyone could have just if someone had seen you at the mall maybe one time, I mean, I know you were pretty cool or whatever, but what if you had that one moment at the mall?
Oh, there were probably 1,000 moments
maybe
like
you
that.
looked like maybe your mom was with you buying a shirt or something. And now, man, someone films it, puts it on freaking
he's
Twitter
hanging out with mommy.
Right. And it's just like, boom, 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 boom. What a loser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if
No, that'd be devastating for a kid, I think.
Yeah.
Especially an insecure kid.
Right.
And because everybody's just trying to fit. That's all you're trying to do at that age is just fit in and not embarrass yourself.
I'm sure I'll get railed, by the way, for suggesting that I watched this movie called The Duff.
I love that shit, dude. You're not going to get it from me. I used to fucking talk about how much I liked, what's her name?
Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana.
Yeah. No, dude, it was actually a pretty good movie in the end. It kind of had a nice story about being yourself and everything will work out.
God.
Is it bad that at the end of it too, like I felt better about myself? Like, yeah, be yourself, Eric. Stick with it. but dude, it really honestly did do a good job of what we're exactly talking about, the idea of bullying. I didn't know we went off a little bit there, but that it did really do a good job in this and showing like this generation's version of what the mean girls could do to you and how scary I would want to do it.
Yeah. And it goes on in every school in the country all the time. And I don't know how you stop that. You don't really, that's
Turn
a
off
can
the
that's
internet.
open. Yeah. Good luck with that. Why don't we take a quick timeout?
Collect our thoughts, if you will.
Yeah, we'll collect our thoughts. E. Good call. And we'll talk about a couple troopers who are in some trouble, facing some lawsuits, and also a rapper that cut his dick off a year ago.
That's hard.
Yeah,
he's trying to be a real gangbanger, huh?
That's gangster as shit, dude.
50 Cent didn't do that.
No, he did
50
not.
50 Cent, 50, sorry.
There you go.
I just said it as white as I could.
We'll get into that and much more next.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.
Hey there, it's Steve Gabarra, the general manager at Zot Ford in Holly. Right now, lease the all-new 2015 Ford F-150 Super Cab XLT 4x4 for only $286 a month. Friends, this flagship of trucks is loaded with an EcoBoost engine, satellite radio, rear view camera, remote start, chrome package, trailer tow package, plus about 1 million more bells and whistles. We have tons of the new 2015 F-150 in stock, and you can lease it for as low as $286 per month from Zot Ford at I-75 and exit 98. More importantly, I want to say thank you to all the TDC listeners that have already leased or bought a new vehicle from Zot Ford. Thank you. You guys are the best. Folks, check out our filthy deals and massive inventory at ZotFord.com. Get there.
The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right. Welcome back to the Detroit Cast on a Wednesday with Mike and Big E. Jay is off today. He'll be back tomorrow. Kadog is here. Still an asshole, but here. Yeah, Poos is here too. Chilling on the couch.
What happened to the blanket?
Yeah. Kick the blanket off, or I put a blanket on it.
Fucking
warm.
Poos.
Damn Poos. Look at that face. Look at that Poos. Anyway,
All tuckered out.
I mentioned some cops in trouble. We got a cop here who NYPD officer wormed his way into the good graces of a woman he met.
Nice.
Yeah, on a domestic violence call.
Oh, perfect. Perfect time to slide on in, show that you're a better man. You know, the opportune moment.
He took her out on a date, and then they claim, according to the complaint, raped her.
Wait a minute. So what happened? He
gets a domestic call.
Right. Goes in
And-
there, saves the day.
He goes in there and he's all caring and stuff. He
Right.
realizes basically that she's smoking hot.
Right. So
And so he's like, all of a sudden he turns into a Mac and he's like, yeah, maybe.
maybe you shouldn't, this guy over here, I'm about to handcuff,
Yeah.
I'll go with the real man.
They're suing for $15 million, of course, as if any piece of ass was
Right.
Oh, sorry.
I'll be
No
honest.
offense. No offense.
Even if you were raped.
Sorry.
Even if you were.
I mean, if you just threw that out there, ladies,
right.
let's be honest.
God, dude.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it was a horrible thing. It sucked.
Right.
That,
awful.
That
Wouldn't anyone
few minutes sucked. It really did. But,
Oh.
dude, I'd take it from just about anybody for $15 million. I got to be honest with you.
Right, dude. You're right, dude. If you were, I mean, dude.
Sorry.
Dude, come on though. Yeah, horrifying and nightmares, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But,
Go to some therapy. You can afford it now.
well, as the drop it's coming to a play again here. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have some therapy, some issues, but just throw some money at that shit.
Go away.
I bet when you're down in the Bahamas, sipping Mai Tais and just it kind of was uncomfortable and I didn't want it, but
yeah, what are you gonna do? Right?
we got $15 million.
So they say the department did an internal investigation. They started looking at Harold Avalos in March when the woman in question's husband complained about his relationship with the wife.
Is this him up on the screen, by the way?
Yeah,
that's the cop.
He looks like a guy he would use maybe the bench to his benefit.
So would Officer Walters. I got to be
Well,
honest with you, for sure.
Who wouldn't, dude? I would too, by the way. I'm not even judging him. If I were ever in a position like that,
Of authority.
I wouldn't.
That's the point of being in a position
but
of authority, to be able to use it.
To be clear, I don't mean that I would rape people. I do mean that I would use it to pick up chicks.
Right. Neither would Officer Walters. I don't think Officer Walters would do any raping, but he might ask a chick out on a date to get out of a ticket.
While you're wearing,
I can be bought.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, well, that or just in general, maybe, and you're going into work and you don't need your uniform on yet, but you're going to the Starbucks. There's a cute girl there. It's like you put your uniform on.
Absolutely, put the gun on
right.
for sure.
Make sure you got the. Maybe have someone even give you a call on the walkie-talkie. I gotta get going.
Yeah. 073 on my way en route over.
Right. Like I'm just in the car, just like you're like, okay, this the really cute girl in here.
Just wait till she walks up to me at the counter.
Right when I get to the counter, give me a little. We gotta go. Man down.
Man down.
I gotta go. Sorry. Like
I'm gonna need this coffee to go. No, by all means, officer, please.
Right, and I'm gonna need your phone number.
The woman is identified only as R.A. in court documents. She later came forward to say that this cop raped her and for months held photo and video evidence of the assault over her head to keep her quiet. When the revelations came to light, he took a plea deal with the lawyers on disciplinary charges, admitting to lying 3 times to the internal investigators, having an inappropriate relationship with a member of the public, and improperly downgrading a police report for no legit purpose. It appears this isn't the first time he started a relationship with a woman he met on duty. The city settled a similar case against him for $105,000 because he can't stop trying to bang chicks while he's pulling them over.
That would be so hard, dude. But that would be, if you think about it, dude, man, like you're pulling over and you just you get her on a speeding ticket and she's just smoking hot. How easy would it be to kind of be like, well, we could, I could write up a ticket or we could
discuss this over dinner. We can do about this. Make this thing just go poof.
Just over a bottle of wine at my house.
Looks like you got a couple points on your license. Would you like a couple more, or perhaps would you like to grab dinner instead?
I mean,
that seems like totally in the realm of like fair play.
right.
That seems like a good move for a cop to make. Like, I don't want to trash your record.
Hey, we could,
I mean, we could play this one of two ways. It's your choice. I'm not a rapist or a predator, but
right.
you know, see if we can't make this go away for you.
I don't think you're. It kind of reminds me of, in a small sense. I don't know if you ever seen this episode, but it kind of reminds you of Always Sunny when they were gonna get a boat, and their whole deal is that it's the gang gets a fishing boat or whatever, and Mac and Dennis are just on there, and they're like suggesting that like, oh, if we get girls on the water, they're not gonna have. We're not saying we're gonna rape them, but they're gonna sleep with us because of the implication. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm just saying they're not going to want to say no because they're out in the lake, you know, and it's the same thing with this girl. She doesn't have to say yes.
Yeah.
But because of the implication.
Better for her to just go along with it.
You can use your pillow thing then.
This will be over soon. No,
just
quiet down.
Just think about it. No points. No points.
Think about how good this will be for you in the end.
And she still gets a dick in her vagina. Sorry, dude.
This guy is a predator. He uses his job like a dating service, the lawyer representing the husband said. Doesn't everybody use their job as a dating service?
That's the only reason you get jobs. That's the reason I want to be a comic and be in the radio so I can make money and then bang chicks.
Yeah.
And as a cop, let's be honest, dude. I know they're all serve and protect, blah, blah, blah. You know there's a lot of cops that go in there and know the reputation of a man in uniform, though.
Yeah.
Come on.
Dude, I've told you that story about when me and T-Roy got pulled over. By the female cop,
right?
And we totally hit on it. We're just like, yeah, well, you know, I mean, what's
a beautiful lady like you doing out here?
God, that's uniform looks amazing on you. And she's like, oh, you guys.
Oh, you.
But dude, within an hour, we were meeting her at the bar.
Right.
I mean, it was like,
yeah, using it as a dude for real though. That is any guy that gets a high position job or a job in an authority. That's what it is. Like, oh, now I can meet chicks.
Yeah.
Right?
Seems like a fair move. I'm not saying to rape them. Again.
Of course.
He first met the victim in September of 2011 when the husband called 911 to have her removed from the house. He appeared sympathetic to her, asking her why a beautiful woman is with a guy like him. Who hasn't used that move? Right? You deserve so much better.
By the way, real quick, Jay always says this stuff. All these stories, because we haven't said it, they're all alleged. All these things, this is the alleged rape. I'm just saying.
Over the next several weeks, he kept in close contact with her, texting her.
I love texting.
Calling her to talk about the case.
Of course.
Let's talk about your case.
Oh, let's just, how's it
He does
going?
that with everybody, right?
I just want to follow up, make sure, everything's good. Dude, texting is so awesome.
Yeah.
Texting is so awesome.
He would call too. Things took a turn for the inappropriate, though, in November of 2012 when he asked to meet at a motel for secrecy reasons because he was not supposed to be talking to her. It was there he tried to kiss her for the first time, but she pushed him away. Nevertheless, the two continued to talk and text, leading to ask her out for her birthday. At a local bar, she got very drunk. It was then that she asked him to take her home, and he said he would once they got something to eat. The last thing she remembers is getting into a taxi with him. And then, she wakes up and just being drilled, Right. She awoke in a room with this dude, unaware of where they were. He told her they were at a motel and that they had sex. I mean, he told her that. She didn't even know.
Right.
She became very distraught. When she went to pick up her clothes, she walked into the bathroom and found puke all over the floor. So she puked all over his room.
Real nice.
Which he had to clean up. Real classy lady.
Yeah, is that gonna come out of his security, like that room with the $50
the deposit
down?
You got to put down?
Right.
Sure.
God.
When she continued to get worked up, he allegedly told her, you need to shut up, and threatened, if you say anything to anybody about this, I will put your naked pictures and video on the internet. I will make you very famous. She didn't tell anyone that she was deeply ashamed, embarrassed, and scared, hoping to convince Avalos to delete the photos and videos. She continued to keep in contact with him.
Of course.
She agreed to go with him to another motel.
Come on. That's...
At some point, do you have to take some responsibility for shit?
Right.
Like,
I agree.
You're meeting at a hotel.
I can even, I can be honest. I can't even get behind the birthday night because he clearly took her to a motel at one point, tried to kiss her. She leaned out of it. So she hadn't done anything yet that he could have bribed her with. So at that point, then you agree to go out to a birthday dinner and you get hammered.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we always say, of course, you and me are the worst. CJ, unfortunately, is usually the rock.
Very cynical.
But you and me are very cynical and very just whatever. But, never would suggest that somebody deserves to be raped. But dude, put yourself in some positions where like you're putting yourself in positions where it's like, come on.
If you're feeling that way about someone, because that's the theme that I keep picking up on. It's like, well, on another date, on another date they went on. It's like, okay, how many times did this bitch go out with this guy? She keeps talking about all this distressing stuff. Well, why do you keep going out with him then?
Right. She was so distressed, but how about just you don't talk to him anymore? Or you know what, dude?
Simple, but
you know what? It sucks that people would see your naked body. But honestly, at that point, then go and say something before you go on the second date. You know what? And I know it's hard for us to put that in that position. The idea of somebody having those images out there and he's saying he's going to do that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Well, whatever.
Yeah, unfortunate steps taken by all parties, perhaps.
Of course.
But at the motel, he allegedly refused to delete the photo. So he tells her, oh, yeah, if you come to the hotel and meet me again, I'll delete the photos.
Oh.
So she shows up and he's like, yeah, by the way, I'm not going to delete the photos. And by the way, we're having sex again.
Right.
And grabs her by the hair and had sex with her against her will. And then on another date.
What are we on? Man, we're fourth day. We're almost maybe meeting the parents yet here?
We're coming up on their first anniversary now.
And 5 years later, I was like, that's enough. Come on.
Enough of raping me. Knock this off, you. So on another date, he told her, if you tell this to anyone, I know where you live. You have a mother, a sister. You have kids. I always carry a gun, and I will kill everyone and then kill myself before I get arrested. You don't know how crazy I am.
I think she probably has a little bit of an idea at this point.
And then her husband found out about the relationship.
Boy.
So this is all going on behind the husband's back.
She's so...
And that she was spending time with him because the 9-year-old son was like, oh, yeah, that cop, he comes over and they have beers together. So he's welcome in her house to have beers and stuff with the kid. That was when he initially complained. When Avalos got wind that he might be under investigation, he again threatened her, calling to say, do not tell them anything and don't say anything bad about me, because you say any fucking thing to anybody, think about yourself and your family, and you know what's going to happen. He told the husband that he knew about the complaints and threatened him too. Nothing is going to happen to me. My union is going to protect me. I feel like putting every bullet in your head. By the way, I'm not fucking her anymore.
Jesus, what a psycho. Even though I disagree, like you said, we both agree on some major mistakes on her end.
Yeah.
Still, if this is true, what a psycho.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this is the allegation against the cop. This is one lawyer's opinion. Of course, he's going to make it sound as horrible as he can.
Of course.
The couple are seeking damages of $5 million for compensatory damages and $10 million more for punitive.
Yeah.
So, but
I know
that's like, I get it. And maybe I'm just really naive to this stuff, but it seems like there could be, and I know this will offend some people, but some personal responsibility. Like, I get it. You go to a bar and have too much to drink, you should be able to get out of that situation without being fucked by some guy waking up.
If it's very
to
obvious
some
that
guy
he doesn't,
being just nailing you in a bar or in a hotel that you didn't plan to go to.
Absolutely.
That's textbook definition of rape. That's like being grabbed in an alley and being raped.
Absolutely.
But when you talk about, you start to lose me when it's like, well, on their 5th date, he again did something, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, how many times are you going to go out with this fucking guy who keeps grabbing you, raping you, all this stuff?
Right.
Like, I don't know. And maybe I'm naive.
And when you and to me, then when you find out she has a husband even and kids, why did she, you know what the more, and you're right. I know what you and me unfortunately have opinions that a lot of people I feel don't like to hear on this in a way, because they think you don't know what it's really like, or you don't understand what it'd be like to be a female. Bullshit, dude. She's married and she has kids. Why did she even show up the first time? Mm-hmm. You're going to show up to a fucking hotel room after the domestic abusing where the cop is texting you. It's inappropriate right from the beginning. She should have right from the fucking beginning called the freaking, what else happened in this story then? What else happened at that night that he first came to see her? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did she hit on him right away? Or did she give him the opinion that maybe she was into something? Because why would this ever be okay?
Well, she's obviously putting herself in situations that suck. And that may have no fault of hers. But if she's in a relationship where her husband's beating her to the point where they're calling the police,
right,
and the police are showing up, she's got a track record of being attracted to douchebags.
Well, and my thing is, like, again, I know we said 10 times, you're not justifying actually having sex with this chick, but she shows up to a freaking hotel to meet a cop, to talk about the case or some shit. Bullshit, dude. Show up with whatever.
Yeah, it just seems like obvious common sense type moves, but you know, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out in court, but it's interesting. They want 15. Of course, they want $15 million.
Right.
So in order to
and
get
by the way,
a
nice for
jury,
this dude. This dude's on Easy Street now after this, I guess. Or so what?
Yeah, they're
him
the
whooping her
couple.
before is okay.
yeah,
That's gone out the wayside.
well, now that 15 million's on the table,
Oh,
they're,
he-
you know, love this woman.
Right, I love. You know,
mother of
we've
my
had-
children. you
We've
know.
had some rough waters, but you know what? We've perceived
Yeah.
God. You know, I've asked for forgiveness, and we love each other. I
Yeah.
love her.
And this could potentially be a great news story for the family. Great news out of New York. I mean, if they score
Totally.
$15 million, that's a lot of win. Yeah, maybe she had to take some abuse, but
Right.
for $15 million, you're not going to make that in a lifetime. You're not
I'll
going to make
take
that
it.
in 3 lifetimes.
I'll
So,
take it.
Yeah, but 2. And then we've got another cop who's getting 10 years in prison. Former Connecticut state trooper has been sentenced to 10 years and 10 years of probation for assaulting an 81-year-old woman.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Jeffrey Laporto, his sentences could be suspended after 2 years, though. So he might get out after 2 years.
There you go.
He's 44, husband, father of 2,
Of course.
from Windsor Locks in Connecticut area. He pleaded no contest to a single count of first-degree sexual assault. He'll have to register as a sex offender. He was arrested in the summer of 2014 after the elderly woman's son told police his mother had been sexually assaulted.
Oh my God.
She told police she and Laporto met in a bar at the Quality Inn Hotel.
There. Whoa. I think the news here is that what Quality Inn has a bar? The Quality Inn is like that shitty version of like Comfort Inn. It's like the
Yeah.
lower, you know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
usually like 35, 40 at night, and just
Yeah.
they don't even have a Quality
she's-
Inn bar.
She's hanging in there just kind of looking hot at the rail at 81.
Of course.
And he
Just-
couldn't resist.
just looking like a silver fox.
So they talked and drank for hours, and then he nailed her in her room.
I respect this 81-year-old lady for getting a little hammered at 81.
Yeah, sitting at the rail at a bar.
Just throwing them down.
She was taken to the hospital for treatment of extensive internal injuries. During his arraignment, his attorney claimed the sexual encounter between the middle-aged state trooper and the woman nearly twice his age was consensual.
Do they give her name or no?
No,
Damn it. I want to see a picture of this old bag.
yeah. It's very common in today's world to see 80-year-old people with much younger girlfriends and spouses. He was fired from his job as a trooper in 2010 after nearly a decade on the job for misconduct, including multiple incidents involving women.
Real nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
She didn't show up in court, but she had a statement that was read on her behalf. And she
I
said,
kind of wouldn't blame her.
"This has been an extremely difficult year for me because of your violent actions as a rapist." She was apparently, she had traveled to Windsor Locks to visit her husband who suffered from Alzheimer's, calling the attack violent, painful, sick, and repugnant.
Boy.
The elderly woman said she suffered serious injuries that have required prolonged medical treatment.
Well, prolonged. I mean,
The prosecutor called him a predatory sex offender who refuses to take responsibility for his crime. The prosecutor also said that both the trooper and his wife are still in total denial about what happened. His personal file with the Connecticut State Police offers details on why he was let go 5 years ago. He's apparently used his patrol car to pull over a woman who had rejected his advances.
Jesus Christ.
He drove the car to the home of another woman and left his patrol area to visit another chick. He was
God,
eventually
dude.
let go after being charged with reckless driving. As he was being arrested, he reportedly poked fun at the state trooper's weight and his unpolished boots. Hey, fatso, nice unpolished boots.
Whoa, zing.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, what?
I
How could you, I could even understand the other stuff. Like, not that I would do it, but I could get it. I guess as a guy, you realize you're a police. You like this girl. Oh, this girl, she didn't want it. I'll show her. But an
Well, yeah.
81-year-old lady at the bar. Oh my God. How? There's no way.
yeah,
How
he's got a couple kids at home and a wife.
81. I don't care how spry she is or how youthful she might look.
Yeah, it can't be that youthful.
No.
Yeah, I think if Officer Walters were on the beat, I think I would exclusively pull over hot chicks.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would just be part of my day. Like it would be like, I'm looking for 10 today. I'm hoping for
Right.
10 chicks that I pull over.
Right.
It's like that would be like if I'm going one way down the road and a car's coming at me, they could be doing 110 and it'd be like, not hot enough. Let them
Right,
go. Let 'em
right.
go. I'd let everybody go. I'd be the greatest cop in town. But you see some smoking hot chick drive by me at 5 over. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm whipping a shitty in the middle of the road, red and blues immediately.
Absolutely.
I mean, she might get cuffed, thrown in the back of my car for a little chat, if you will.
Of course. Then again, of course, as we discussed, unless she's willing to, you'll
negotiate our own terms. That seems fair.
You'll work with her outside the court. Kind of be like, we could be outside the court and
maybe at a hotel.
Maybe I was gonna say my bedroom, but a hotel.
Yeah. I've long said that Officer Walters would not be a good cop. Like I've often said that.
I mean,
I've often said that I probably wouldn't have made the best cop because I know how I would police on the streets.
Very arguable.
I would be fair to some people, very unfair to others. I'd have a trigger figure for almost everybody.
Yeah.
And hot chicks. Not that I would arrest them, or I would probably let them go, but I would definitely slow down their day.
You're just trying to make sure they're safe. Really, I don't.
Well, yeah, you could argue that, but I could see like if you asked a chick out and she was like, "No, get out of here, pig," and then you pass her like a couple days later on the road.
Oh,
dude, cherries immediately.
Oh.
Fancy seeing you here.
Right.
What's going on? Doing 3 miles an hour over the speed limit on the freeway.
Oh, you think you're better than anybody out here?
Yeah, you think just because you're smoking hot 10, you can just drive around here like a mad fool doing 74 and a 70? You monster.
Totally, dude. Why? Who's gonna stop you?
I mean, so I can
and
see
technically
how
the
that
law
would happen.
is the law. I
Yeah,
mean, they set speed limits for a reason.
Limit, not speed. Somewhere in here,
right.
Yeah, it's the speed limit is 70. You're out here just driving like an asshole doing 73 in my jurisdiction. Think again, sweetheart.
Right.
We'll go from there.
Again, that's up to her though. Again,
Yeah, it's up to her how this ends.
She doesn't have to say yes. She doesn't have to, but.
And then I got a story here about Kristen Schroeder, 27 years old. Kind of cute, right? Would you?
Yeah.
What about her?
Nice tattoo, fucking.
Yeah.
I love him. And I know, like, I'm not the first person to make fun of these, and I get it. But I just wonder, all I ever want to do when I see those is ask the person, like, oh, that's quite a tattoo there. What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? That
he's
tribal tattoo.
He's got the tribal thing all over his shoulder.
What tribe are you a part of exactly?
Well, those got popular a few years ago.
I know.
And so there's a lot of people with that tattoo running around. Anyway, she slipped from a 5th level balcony on a Carnival cruise ship.
Yeah.
Back in May of 2013. And she climbed over the handrail. Her 30-year-old partner, Paul Rosington, jumped nearly 65 feet into the water, into the Tasman Sea moments after, and trying to save her. And the bodies were never found. And an inquest was done. Said there was little chance either survived for more than a few hours in the water. That the deputy state coroner, Hugh Dillon, handed down his findings today. The deaths of Kristen and Paul are even more distressing than most because of the loneliness of their deaths in the dark ocean and because they'd gone on the cruise in a hope of restoring and reinforcing their relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
What they had struggled to achieve in life, loving unity, they perhaps managed in their last actions alive.
No.
The holiday was believed to be a make it or break it scenario for the couple.
Oh my God. So I wonder, the funny thing is, you got to think which one was more ready to be out than the other. Because, you know what I mean? Like, if the guy, you know what I'm saying? There's always usually one of them to me that is more ready. You know what I mean? Like, the guy's really fighting that, like, come on. Just
they'd only been together 10 months, too. So after 10 months, they're like, let's go on this cruise and see if there's anything in this bullshit relationship worth saving. Yeah. So
I just like I said, I just can't. To me, it's like if one of those two was just like, you know what, I'm all right if this, you know what I mean. There's always one that wants it to last longer and one that's okay with it to go.
Yeah.
If there was one, one of these guys was kind of like, if it works, it works. But if I get back, I got a piece of something on the side I'm already working on. Yeah, that'd be a bummer.
Yeah. Well, what they say why Kristen stepped over the railing of the cabin is not known. There's no suggestion that she felt threatened by Paul. It seems improbable that she was intending to end her own life. The most likely explanation is that Kristen, being unafraid of heights, was making a dramatic gesture to alarm and test Paul, whatever that means.
Are you kidding me?
They have closed circuit footage capturing the final moments the couple was played at this inquest that they had done,
Yeah.
including what appeared to be a fight in the ship's casino hours before their death. So they show him he's at like a slot machine.
Right,
And he's got
and-
his finger in her face, and they're
Probably-
kind of fighting with each other,
so
and
she's-
then immediately they're kissing.
Oh,
So
one of those
one of
fucking.
those relationships. Yeah.
Oh my god! Is that any more to me? Almost
See him
anything
there.
more infuriating?
He's like, "You again, bitch? Really with this shit?
Well,
I'm paying 15 cents a fucking pull here."
Right. She's probably sitting there just. You're gonna spend the whole time here on the slot machines, or how much money you spending on these
Yeah.
slot machines? And he's just like, you know what,
Let's go dancing. Let's go look at the sun setting out on the cruise deck. And he's like, "Fuck,
dude.
fuck! I just want to play some slots, bitch. Go."
I know. I obviously am no expert on this story. All I know is what you've read to me and
Yeah.
what I can, gather in my own mind. But I wouldn't have been jumping after this chick. I'd been like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'd call. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd call the captain or something and say, I think my girlfriend fell off the thing here. But
Well, infrared footage from later that night captured a figure believed to be her climbing over the balcony of their cabin about 9 p.m. before slipping, hanging on for 4 seconds, and then falling. She plunged 20 feet before she slammed into the level 3 of the ship and then plummeted another 40 feet into the ocean.
oh my god.
So at that point, she's fallen 20 feet onto the deck below,
Yeah.
bounced off that, and then into the ocean.
Oh my
What
god.
the fuck are you jumping in for?
Right. She's dead. Dude.
That's gone. You're gone at that point.
what a
I'm
waste.
sorry.
Right.
Seconds later, he can be seen diving overboard.
What? You're right, dude. What are you? You're saving a corpse at that point.
Yeah, or someone really. And what are you gonna do?
Right.
The cruise ship is cruising. It's gone. Like you're
You're not gonna-
way better served to go. Like
Call.
finish your beer.
Right.
Obviously, you want to
Wow.
finish your beer first.
Of
I mean,
course,
it's a
of course.
beautiful sunset. You should take that in and enjoy it.
Settle the nerves.
Yeah, like get your composure, finish your
course,
beer,
of
say,
course.
and then go alert someone and go, by the way, some chick fell overboard like 20 minutes ago while I was just starting my new beer.
Right.
Like 20 minutes back. I don't know if you guys can backtrack well, but it didn't look good.
No.
But
That's
what
ridiculous. You're not going to do anything.
What
That
help
is
are you to dive in after her at that point?
just be an idiot and lose your own life? You know what? I don't even care. I'm happy. Fuck these people. Who cares?
The coroner has
What-
recommended.
What could dog?
I just say I'm confused. The problem solved itself, and
That is a good point, dude.
Yeah,
and number one, there's no footage of him pushing her over because that's
Right.
my initial thought. Is
yeah,
like,
mine too.
did he push her and then just disappear?
Yeah,
His buddy down there in a jet ski picked him up, but
Yeah.
no, I mean, as far as the relationship problem solved.
yeah.
Good point.
Yeah,
What is he doing? What a moron.
Yeah, the coroner has recommended Mr. Rosington be awarded the Cross of Valor, Australia's highest
Who?
bravery
Brett,
award.
Brett, who?
Huh?
Who gets this?
The guy that jumped in after her.
Oh, but he's dead, right?
Yeah,
So who gives a fuck?
yeah, true. And I'm sorry.
And I don't agree with that. You're right.
If they have a dumbest Australian on the planet award, they should give him that award too, because by diving in, there was absolutely nothing you
yeah,
could
that's
do.
dumb, dude. So this stupid.
I mean, think about this. It's not like you're by the shoreline where, 20 miles from here, I can see the shore. Maybe we could swim there if I can just get to her. You're in the middle of the vast ocean.
Right.
Just ocean.
right.
Like, what do you think's going to happen? Nobody can hear you. Nobody's going to see you. They didn't find out about it for hours that they were missing. They were supposed to show up for breakfast the next morning. And so when they didn't, it was like, oh, where'd they go? And then by the time they review the footage, it's like, oh
Right.
shit, forget it. They
How-
never saw him again.
Yeah, how stupid. That's just so this dumb family can like at the memorial say our son,
Yeah.
they can put that stupid little whatever they gave him and throw it there on his
They recommended it. I don't know that they've given it to
Oh.
him yet, but to me, it's like, yeah,
for being an
he
idiot.
deserves the Bonehead Award. There was a chance he could have helped her, but diving
no.
in was the last thing you should
The-
do in that
the
situation.
You're right. Yes, there was a chance, and the chance was, I joking aside, like obviously just right away calling Zero on the phone and
well,
saying,
I mean,
dude,
you don't want to spill your beer, but yeah,
I get you. Okay. slowly set your beer down and then walk. No, but the only chance he had to save this person, and it was probably Zero, was calling freaking and saying, dude, someone just fell off the freaking ship.
yeah,
Dude, you're right. Best case scenario, even if she survived and he jumps off, is nothing. Is you're still dead.
yeah.
The ship is moving at probably whatever knots per hour they go, and
It's going at a healthy clip. Let's
right,
just
it's
say
not,
that.
it's not chugging along. Yeah,
Yeah.
stupid, dude.
and you don't
moron.
realize how big those ships are. Nobody's going to hear you, or you're just
God,
a
no.
drop of water in a bucket at that point.
Fuck. You know what? Fine with me though. Two idiots.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Speaking of idiots, I mentioned that rapper earlier, and rapper might be a strong word, but he's known as a rapper. Andre Johnson. He made headlines last year for cutting his own dick off.
I think I remember this. Didn't we talk about this?
Maybe
The more I think about it, the more I think I remember this, dude.
They said he was high on synthetic marijuana.
Yes, we did talk about this. I swear we talked about this.
Maybe. Well, he's talked for the first time about why he did that.
Right.
He was kind of loosely affiliated with the Wu-Tang Clan. He was, as an MC.
Wasn't that like, how many did they have? Or I'm thinking of somebody. I'm thinking of Lil Jon and the East Side Boys.
Yeah,
like,
Wu-Tang they had some members.
Well, no, but I was just like, it was like, I don't remember the Wu-Tang as much, but like when I saw Eminem do the anger management, the one at Comerica, not like later on, but not back when he was in Ford Field, but like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys were there, and it was like Lil Jon. Remember, that was back when all he was doing was like, yeah. And it was like, dude, there was like 20 people on stage with like mics, and it'd be like, and rags. And like,
yeah,
dude, these people aren't even rapping. Like, it was Lil Jon was up there, and like 20 people running around just like, yeah. I'm like, dude, okay, you're part of the boys, I guess. You're not even doing anything. Anyway, I don't know.
That sounds like his role.
I just remember sitting there going like, dude, 10 of these people aren't even doing anything.
Well, this guy gave an interview with Vlad TV on Friday to talk about this incident in which he chopped off most of his dong and then jumped out of a second-story window. He explained that the combination of PCP, I love how they tag this with synthetic marijuana did it, but then you hear him talking about, he's like, oh, I was on PCP, meth, Molly, alcohol, no sleep.
It's like everything.
Yeah, he had
what is he missing?
Yeah, he had a whole pharmacy inside him. And then he was depressed because
that's a good combination.
Yeah, because of child custody issues that drove him to grab a steak knife to his dick, during which he described as a PCP party in Hollywood. According to him, the famed Wu-Tang Clan producer, the RZA, was also there that night, but he didn't take any drugs. Mr. Johnson, kind of ironic that his name is Mr. Johnson.
God damn it.
What?
I can't do the Jake.
Mr. Johnson, your briefcase.
Right.
He became upset.
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got it.
Yeah.
Dick.
Yes, Johnson Dick. He doesn't have one anymore. At least he's got his name.
You and your
He became upset that the three mothers of his children,
of course,
had taken out restraining orders against him and stopped answering his phone calls.
Can someone just...
I was high as a motherfucker, man, with no sleep and just frustrated because I could not talk to my babies. And I'm paying like 3 child support payments and I'm seeing none of my kids. And I really thought for that moment in time that I really hurt myself by not having a vasectomy or whatnot.
Yeah.
Quote,
really?
I was going to give myself one. So he couldn't have no more kids. Before that night, he'd been reading about monks who castrated themselves and became inspired by them.
Sounds like a great plan.
He said he felt like he was in a cartoon world because he sat in this North Hollywood apartment and he was doing all these drugs and he was watching Family Guy and American Dad.
Nice.
So he felt like he was in a cartoon world. This is when he grabbed a steak knife and proceeded to cut his dick off. He did misspell the rumors that he cut his entire dick off due to the fact that it's not a myth. The black man do. So he's talking about how black men have huge dicks anyways. I could cut 3/4 of it off. I'm still hung.
Jeez, what an asshole.
I'm not really going to go into it that much, but we hanging.
Jesus, dude. So this is the whole point of this story. Just let us all know that he has a big dick before and still does.
Still kind of
even after he cut 3/4 of it off or whatever.
I'm still able to work with what I got. I'm able to work with it and still get it down.
Get it in shit.
Yep. He realized he made a flopper, as he called it.
A boner?
When he looked down and saw his mangled privates gushing blood like a water hose, certain he was going to die because he cut off too much. I thought I cut off too much of it. That's when he decided to jump from the balcony. How I jumped was just so heroic. I Supermaned out that motherfucker.
This story is just him. This story is only about how he had a big dick and then he's the man.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm hearing.
Lucky for him, he landed on some grass. He just missed the concrete, they said. He realized he was going to survive. And from that moment on, it was a pure celebration. So it was on.
I guess he forgot about his kids after the, does that count as a pure, like him jumping off and deciding he's going to live and it's going to be a pure celebration? Does he care about his kids anymore or no?
I don't know. They don't mention that. But
'Cause he was
paramedics,
depressed.
they received, they were able to find his dick, by the way. I mean, I think a few of them tripped over it. It was so huge.
Right.
So they found it easily and they put it on ice. And he said that he was dispelling rumors that people were saying that surgeons were able to reattach that thing. And he's like, nah, they weren't able to put shit back on. So I don't know what they did with it. If they chucked it or if they fed a village with it or what.
What does the front of it look like now?
I don't know. Just like straight line. He said that reattachment shit is all mythological. There was no reattachment. Even though losing such an important part of himself still brings tears to his eyes, usually they're happy tears because he's proud of what he did. I'm the only man who ever did what the fuck I did. And I'm proud of it because why? In the annals of history, I don't think you got anybody who ever did it. I might have made a big mistake, the biggest mistake ever in history, but I'm proud of that. I should be the poster boy for don't do PC fucking P.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
That I agree with.
So he's trying to spin this like, this is great news.
Right, it's good news out of my penis.
Nobody has ever done this shit but me.
I don't know that it's great news when I feel like you say it was the dumbest thing someone's ever done in life, and then the next sentence say, but I'm proud of it and it's the best thing.
Yeah.
Although
I think he's trying to own it.
right. I guess I give credit for that.
Yeah. I mean, what?
I actually found one of his rap videos. Do you want to take a listen?
Yeah, is it any good?
Hell yeah.
Well, I didn't listen to it.
Can
Is
you
this
move it
him
over?
rapping?
Yeah.
Can you move it over to the other thing or no?
Where you at? Where you at? Yeah. Hey, yeah. I take all my frustrations on the track. I put it on my thinking cap. Put a place on the map. Now you can hear the bass slap on the military running rigger nigga. I got on my waist strap. Christ be the name. He's so virtue, we fame. Nigga be game. On Willie Street, have no shame. I'll never be the same. I remember, recollect, recall, and all.
It's not bad.
I'm kind of mixed on whether I like it or I don't hate it. The beat's nice. I like.
Wearing a West Coast Killer shirt. West Coast Killer Bees.
Yeah, actually, I kind of don't mind. You're right.
Did he just say with the big dick?
Get a shit.
Yeah.
I feel like this.
Easy shirt.
I
Yeah,
feel like this
anyway.
song looked good. It didn't seem that bad, but I kind of feel, and I know I have no grounds to speak on this, but I feel like he would have a limited amount of song. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he has, I don't know.
Yeah.
He seems
Hey.
like he would be someone who would have like a few songs that were really big and then that would be it.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I could be totally
I don't know
wrong.
if he's got any big hits, but it's a well-produced video.
Totally. It totally is.
Um,
It's actually good for sure.
Hey, we should mention our new advertiser. If you're looking to buy or sell your own version of the Fady Manor, so-called Krista Jelski at Remax Suburban, whether you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or both, she will hook you up with all your real estate needs. Check out Krista's website at KristaSellsHouses.com or call her anytime, 586-918-0900. And welcome to the Detroit Cast family, Krista. We're glad to have you.
Hell
on board.
yes. That's awesome.
Yeah, it sure is. Michael Sam, remember he left the
Is he a football player or something? Or
yeah, they call him a football star, and I put a question mark above that. I was like, football star?
what was he? Was he a pro bowler or what were his stats?
No, he was pretty good in college.
Was he? What was
Yeah.
his NFL career like?
Yeah, it didn't work
What
out
about his
very well.
CFL career?
Yeah. Well, he remember that he signed a 2-year deal with the Alouettes,
Oh God, yeah, the Alouettes. They're
and then he left. Remember, he left camp
for
like
family reasons.
for
I don't know her.
something. And I was thinking at the time, I hope nothing's wrong with Vito.
Oh.
With this man Vito.
Could be.
And it turns out it sounds like maybe there is
Really?
trouble in paradise.
Oh.
Yes. Him and his college sweetheart may have called it quits. Just 6 months after getting engaged, Sam and Vito, is it Camisano? Camisano? They began dating in 2011. Sam proposed in the Vatican City in January. The two have not been seen together in months, however, and now Sam has deleted all photos of Camisano
Whoa.
from his Instagram account,
Oh
including their engagement photo.
my!
TMZ first pointed out that Sam had deleted his Instagram photos while also noting the fact that he had recently had to leave training camp from the Montreal
Dude,
Alouettes for personal reasons.
The so funny thing is, and I know you're gonna think the same thing, but like, dude, it's just so funny. I mean, a straight football player would never, ever leave for this situation, especially if you're like, dude, you're clinging right now, dude. You've been on one team, you got cut in the NFL, got cut from another team on the practice squad, another NFL team.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut from that.
Right, you're on the freaking,
the bubble,
hanging by a freaking thread here to say that you're
it's
a professional football player, dude.
It's not time to worry about your relationship.
No matter what, dude. No matter, it sucks. But dude, use that on the field, I guess, or something, man. Because this is
unless he's just thinking that, you know what, by being known as the first quote unquote gay football player, which is laughable. There's been tons of gay football players.
Of course, there has been.
But to be the guy known as the first guy coming out,
right,
and making it, getting drafted. I guess that's his big claim to fame, is I'm the first out homo to be drafted by an NFL team.
Yeah.
And they can't take that from him. So to some, he's a hero. And so maybe he just thinks, I can make tons of money on the interview circuit. I can make tons of money doing talk shows, giving inspirational speeches, getting involved with gay causes, whatever.
But didn't he say he did not want to be a gay football player? He just wanted to be a football player. And would you ever, if you had made it to this level of sports, or to be honest, I wouldn't do it in this level of broadcasting if this thing got it. If it was between if I had ended up getting some long distance relationship, and this show was just about to make that real big hype, it'd be this show over that for sure.
Yeah.
Like, would you ever imagine a guy? I just can't imagine a guy doing that when you're like clinging, man, to wanting to be a football player, a professional football player.
Yeah, if that's your dream, you go for it. You don't.
I would not. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds cold, but that's just not that type of line of work where you can sweat that stuff. You just, that's for another day.
Right.
If you're going to go down that road, you have to be willing to not worry about veto in this moment.
Right.
It's about making the football. And that's why I say maybe it's the NFL or nothing to him. You're not going to make a killing of money.
But you got to think that, you got to think in his mind that, dude, get a year in here. It's out of college. It's still professional. Kind of professional football, but
whatever. They say Cam Asano, who's 24, just filmed a YouTube video in his quest to become a video blogger, and he's not wearing his wedding ring on camera. Perhaps the biggest indication, however, is that the hugely public couple were shockingly tight-lipped when last week's gay marriage ruling came down from the Supreme Court.
That's a good point. We did not hear
from Michael Sam.
That is kind of a funny point. Now that I think about it.
There are some signs that they're still together, though. Sam still has all his photos of this guy up on his Facebook page. And in Cam Asano's YouTube video, you can see Sam's Arthur Ashe Courage Award that he got that Caitlyn Jenner is going to win in a couple of weeks here.
Of course.
From ESPN. You can see that sitting on the counter in the background. So I don't know. But sounds like maybe trouble in paradise.
Dude, just for someone who wanted to be a football star first and then whatever, his personal life second. I don't know. He's done nothing, in my opinion, that proves that.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
Did you see there was a brawl outside South Carolina State House over the Confederate flag?
No.
Supporters and protesters came together. There was a pretty big fight broke out last night over the Confederate flag. About 10 supporters of the flag pulled up in vehicles. They were all flying the flag. And where protesters had been gathering for 2 weeks demanding the flag be removed.
Right.
So all these people are just milling about the State House demanding that it's removed. And so these guys drive up with their pickup trucks and shit with the flag waving out of it. And moments later, the two sides were fighting with punches being thrown by members of both groups. The police had to separate everybody. Joe Linder, one of the supporters in favor of keeping the flag, he was one of the people injured in the fight. He says, "There's the blood on my face, the blood in my teeth, the blood on my hands is no comparison to the Southern blood that runs through my veins. I'm going to tell you one thing. I ain't sitting down. This will just make me walk taller." One person was arrested for their involvement in the fight, a flag supporter who appeared to instigate the clash. There are people saying that what really instigated this fight, though, was some black dude that was, you know, part of the group trying to take the flag down. When these guys went by, he ran up and yanked this flag out of some dude's car.
Yeah.
And so the guy immediately stopped and tried to get his flag back.
Right.
And then he was punched, and then, you know, fisticuffs erupt and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, the problem we've talked about many times with stories like this, and why we always bitch about the PC-ness of it all. And the big question is, okay, where does it end? Like, where do you draw the line between history and, you know, because there's a lot of terrible shit that's happened throughout the history of the country, throughout the history of any country. And do you want
no country on the freaking planet is white, or in this, when I say white, I mean pure of history.
Yeah,
none. Somebody, you know, things happen in the history.
And my fear is, like, people that get so worked up about things, whether it's, oh my God, they said something offensive to me. Those people don't win what they don't stop when they win something. Like, they're always going to find something else to bitch about. So where do you end that? Where does that line get drawn where it's like, okay, fuck off. We're done fighting about this shit. We're done paying this any more attention.
Yeah.
We're done with this. And my fear is, okay, once they take down that state flag, which they will, they'll get that
coming
state
down.
flag.
That's coming down.
Yeah.
No question.
And it's deemed now, it's to the point where you can't even go, wait a minute, you can't even make the argument without looking like a racist or a someone in favor of slavery. You can't even have that opposing view anymore. You're not entitled to your opinion without being declared a fucking monster. Whether it's the gay rights, whether it's the flag, whether it's name it.
Right.
Name it. You're just a dick, and you're not inclusive, and you're an asshole, you're a xenophobe, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're this, you're that. And the fear is, okay, once they get that flag taken down, those people are not going to go home and be content. They're just going to go to the next thing.
Dude, exactly.
And the problem with that I have is, where does that end? Where is your end game? Because there are people that are going to walk this planet for all of their time on this planet looking for shit to claim to be offended by. And this story is from a couple months ago, but I found it relevant to this topic because there were a group of university professors that have signed a letter showing their solidarity with these fucking loser students who are trying to ban the American flag
dude,
at the University of California, Irvine, because they said it contributes to racism.
Real quick, dude, I swear, I'm not trying to break into you. You know, it's funny though. When you made the transition from that to that, I was thinking in my head, because you're talking about history, and I know this is going to sound like a straight out of Stockton moment, but I swear to God, in my head, I started thinking, well, dude, we had, Japanese people in camps during World War. We've taken out Indians in our past. And I literally in my head was thinking, well, maybe the American flag is offensive.
It is.
And I swear to God, I'm not just saying it to do it straight out of Stockton, but it's funny. I'm really glad that you actually had that.
Yeah.
Because that was in my head. I was going to say that next. I just didn't know where you're going to be going with
Old
that.
Glory, folks.
So you can read on. I didn't mean to interrupt there, but it's funny that you said that because that was in my head.
A group of California lawmakers are working on a bill that would prohibit publicly funded universities from banning the American flag. U.S. nationalism often contributes to racism and xenophobia, and that paraphernalia of nationalism is, in fact, often used to intimidate.
This is such bullshit, dude.
It's why I continue to scream every fucking week about this shit.
You fucking idiots, man. Like, you know what? By the way, so many other countries on this planet have no problem just embracing the country as it is. We have such, what is with this self-hate? It's going to be taught, and it's going to be start pushing that America's so bad, so bad. I remember talking to my sister when she was at OU, and about, I don't remember where it came up, but this idea where it's just become cool to diss on America, and how they won't even bring up that, they bring up more negative at some of these college courses where it's like, oh, we did this and we did this and okay, I guess. Yeah. But dude, where are the
supporters of it?
Yeah, and it's like, dude,
and why do we pay this any mind?
And this is gonna sound such cliche that not when we one of those people like, if you don't like it, get it out or whatever.
Yeah, kind of.
But you know what? If you don't like it, if America is such a fucking shithole and this flag represents what they represent, Go to freaking some of these other countries on this planet and have a fun time living there. Have a fun time with Kim Jong-un, and fucking where people are getting shot in the fucking head because they yawned at a meeting or they didn't mourn long enough for his dad. And we're going to sit here and ban the Americans. A group of kids in some college are going to sit there. The American.
There was a story a couple of weeks ago about this gay guy and his tranny lover who were upset with their government, and so they were going to join ISIS. A gay guy and his tranny fucking lover.
Do they get what's going to happen when they join there? I mean, if they are going to be open in what they are,
so clueless as to like, do you realize the second you got into the country, they would march you up to the highest rooftop of the building and chuck you on your ass, and if God forbid you didn't die on impact, the crowd would be there to stone your ass to death.
You idiots. But they sit here and go, America's America, we discriminate and we're so not, we don't accept everybody.
I think they were from a European country, but
sorry.
still. But no. I mean, the same thing, coming from a free country where you can actually
speak your mind.
You can actually be a tranny. And the idea that it's such bullshit what's going on over here. I'm going to join ISIS because I feel like an outcast, and they're reaching out to outcasts. Who's more of an outcast than me, a gay guy with my tranny lover? Good luck with that. More power to you. Go join ISIS and see how they feel about you.
Here's my thought, I always feel like, dude, is anything perfect? Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And we can always move to improve things. I don't believe that there should have been separate drinking fountains, of course.
Yeah.
But this idea, it's just worse than ever to me. And you agree, I know, kind of, but just slamming America for any perceived, as you always say, offensive, offended.
Well, that's the trouble with it, is the assault on all of this stuff. It's like, it's like some people are going to be offended by almost nothing. Like there's very few things that you're going to show me or say to me. There's nothing you could say to me that I'm going to find, oh my God, that guy needs to lose his job. Oh my God, that guy nothing. I respect the freedom of that, and freedom of speech. It's truly not free if it costs you everything. Freedom of speech doesn't need to be protected. You don't need to protect free speech for speech that no one deems offensive. The whole point of free speech is that, yes, you can say horrific fucking shit. And I know Jay's argument would be, well, that means the government won't come after you. No, free speech should mean more than that. It should mean what it's supposed to mean. But who could have ever seen a day when little pussies all over this fucking great country would be turning on each other, would be tattletelling on other adults.
Yeah.
Adult humans are tattling on other adults, looking for things to be offended by.
Looking for it. That's the key.
They're searching it out. They're searching for things that they find offensive, to scream from the rooftops that I've been offended.
You're right.
Fuck you. How about that? Fuck you. That's what you should say. If someone says, I find that offensive, go, so? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you are such a weak person that you find offense everywhere you turn.
Right.
That's not my concern. I can't do anything about what you find offensive. There's a very gray line with what some people find offensive. Some people find entertaining things. What some people would find very, very offensive, some people find that entertaining.
Right.
So who's right and who's wrong?
And I think the thing is, and sometimes Jay will say this, and you're right, a lot of times Jay doesn't tend to, you're right, what he said about it. But Jay will say this, and I agree with this aspect of it. You know what? The market will determine. Well, it should be the market determining what we're like. That pizza place in Indiana that wasn't. You know what? If the market in that city decided, you know what, we don't like this, then let that be. If people decide on their own, I can understand if let's just say there was a store down the business or down the street here, and they just said, we do not, hate gay. We hate gay rights, whatever it is. Who cares? And I just decided, you know what? I don't kind of disagree with that. I'm going to choose on my own.
I'm not going to that pizza place.
But I'm not going to have to spot it on Facebook. But you know what, though? How it works out is that will solve itself by eventually enough people kind of word of mouth, maybe mild word, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't need to have the government or, this bullying and this freaking, I'm offensive. I'm going to go to CNN and Fox News and
they are more than happy to just pluck them up, put them on TV, and let's hear how offended they were. This is an outrage. So back to the flag.
Yeah,
hundreds of people have signed this letter, including some professors demanding the flag be taken down. Yeah, the American flag. This is back on March 3rd. The UC Irvine Student Government Association voted 6-4-2 to remove Old Glory from a campus lobby for the sake of cultural inclusivity.
That is fucking bullshit, man.
The students blathered on about how the American flag has been flown in instances of colonialism and imperialism.
Dude!
There were people who were like, the flag triggers me. That's their exact wording, too. The executive leadership student government met and vetoed the legislation, and by Monday, the flag was once again posted in the campus lobby. Our campus is patriotic and proud, the government president said. We did something right for our campus. March 10th legislative meeting to discuss the controversy was canceled after the university received viable threats of violence if they dared remove it.
I wish we could get those kids' names, some of these kids that signed this, and not to obviously actually hurt, but I would love to just call them and sit there and hammer them on this.
But I think that's going on in campuses everywhere.
Dude,
it's ridiculous. And the fact that anybody pays it any mind is so absurd to me. But that's my fear right there. When people go, you're bitching about this stuff all the time, and it's what's the big deal? So they take down the Confederate flag. Yeah. Well, when they take down the Confederate flag, you think they're all just going to go home and be happy? No, they're going to make a tax on the American flag and say, when that flag was made in 18 whatever, there was slavery going on. It stood for this. It stood for that.
Maybe they'll go to the Irish flag. Maybe they'll go. You know what? The thing that I always say, I don't smoke, for example, but this I think is relevant to what
this country was built on tobacco farmers.
Well, and the thing is though, I don't smoke. And to be fair, I actually don't mind going to bars anymore and not having my clothes smell. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I did not want the law to come down from a government to tell the bars couldn't do it. Let the market decide. When a bar decides, hey, we're on our own going to go smoke free. You know what? If that starts winning out, then okay.
Yeah.
But
I totally agree.
And you'll hear people, well, smoking's bad. Well, then, you idiots.
So is drinking.
Then drinking's going to be next. Then sugar's going to be next. Then this. And the same thing with what you're saying. There's kind of this saying when Hitler used to do that or whatever. I know I've heard in a lot of, there's that saying of like, well, he went for this guy. And it's like, well, I didn't do that. And then they went for this one. And I didn't stand up. But eventually it gets to you. And all those people are gone because we've gotten rid of them.
Yeah.
And then there's no one to stand up for you. And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. You hope it doesn't get to that point. But I'm telling you, man, this is only going to get worse because if you remember, all they wanted to do with the Confederate flag, all they were interested in doing was getting it off the state capitol.
Of course.
That's all we want. So why is eBay and Walmart and all these other pussy outlets removing all references to
Walmart,
taking it off the General Lee with Dukes of Hazzard cars, not being able to print the Confederate flag on there? I mean, it goes so far beyond, and I'm telling you, man, there will be more attacks on Old Glory for sure.
No question about it. I'm telling you, because it was already in my head before we read that article. I started thinking, I bet they can go after American flag because of they could, like I said, they could argue about the freaking Indians back in the day, Japanese people that were put in internment in camps during World War II, I believe. And you know the thing is, when you talk about the Confederate flag in Walmart, give me a fucking break, Walmart. Maybe they should give all the money back that how much, my God, have they probably made over the years on selling that Confederate flag at Walmart, dude? Yeah. I know for a fact several, of those fake kind of hillbillies in White Lake, Michigan or this or that would buy their Confederate shit from Walmart. Give me a break.
Campaigners now are demanding that J. Edgar Hoover's name be removed from Washington's headquarters over claims he persecuted gays. The guy that started the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, they want his name removed from everything.
So anyone that's ever made a mistake in their entire life, or not even, I'm not even going to suggest whatever that, I'm just using that. Anybody that's done anything controversial or anything that in the past, they used to marry people at 16, 14, 15, and now we've decided it has to be 18 of consent. So should any history family that, going back, are those all rapists now?
Yeah.
Are those all child molesters? Because they used to have sex with people back earlier back then.
Sure.
So could you go back to your lineage and say, well, your great grandfather used to molest little kids? Because we've decided now that at 18, it's not legal.
Yeah.
Or, you kind of know what I meant there.
Well, there were tons, by the way, J. Edgar Hoover, there were tons of homo rumors about him.
Right. Well, then
he was never married. Cross-dressing rumors. He was never married. And he was he was a bachelor his whole life, and he had this really close relationship with his deputy,
Right.
Clyde Tolson.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't there.
They were known to spend huge amount of time together, ate lunch together every day, drove to work together every day, take holidays together, had dinners together. Hoover even left most of his estate to Tolson when he died.
A lot of guys do that with their friends, right?
Sure. But he would go after people that were thought to be homos.
One of those kind of things.
Yeah, so there's a new documentary out on him. But yeah, that's the thing. Do we really want to erase the names of the historical figures who founded this country and built this country, even with its flaws? That flag's racist. It's all white. The new American flag.
Good dog.
Put something up. It's just a white bare flag. But I find that racist. If I was African American, I would take offense at that.
My God, you can't. The problem is you couldn't. I guess it'd be okay if it was black, probably, but
yeah, maybe. But yeah, that seems like a very, very racist flag.
It's tough because if I made it multicolor, then it would be lesbian, gay, and bisexual.
Yeah,
right.
And so
no, that's okay. That probably would be okay.
Well, no, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are against that. A lot of the religious people. So
it doesn't matter anymore.
But they'd have a problem with our.
It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. That's not because that's not what's cool anymore.
By the way, all those people that did the Facebook thing where they put the homo flag over their image,
stupid.
They think that Facebook is maybe tracking all those people now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are.
They were keeping a tally on that. So I don't know.
You guys
who knows what they're using that information for? But
well, I know I talked to this a little. I kind of joked about you with that though. All these people changing their page over. When is it going to be okay to change it back? Because once you change it, if you change it back,
if you change it back, you're anti-gay. So
right. So I guess
would recommend that you're stuck with that now forever.
So forever, your Facebook profile picture has to have a rainbow in it.
I think that's only fair.
I'm glad I didn't change mine then.
Lastly, Paris Hilton is going to sue that TV show. She swears that she knew nothing about that. Remember, we were questioning that. And we're talking about a prank. In case you missed it the other day, someone, this guy, what was his name? Ramez in Control. It's this show. They were in. Where was it? But anyway, they took her up for a tour of what's. Yeah,
I'm sorry, dude. Was it Dubai or something?
Dubai, yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yep. And took her up in a plane, and they basically killed the engines, and we're like, oh my God, we're gonna crash, and they went into a nosedive, and it was all a joke. They were actually opened the back door, and they were chucking people out the back door.
Yes, yeah.
Like having them parachute out. They were trying to get her to do that too, and she's like, I'm not jumping. And then they landed the plane safely, and we're like, we're just kidding, just fucking with you.
Right.
So she's apparently has said for many, many years, her whole life, she's like, I fly almost every day, and that's my biggest fear on the planet is being in a plane crash.
Wow.
And so I think she's got a legitimate argument for emotional distress. I'm sorry, that was a brutal prank.
No, you're right, dude. Especially because, dude, if she really wasn't involved, and especially if she has this personal fear that's pretty out there, pretty known, you got to think if it's a show, reality show, the producers knew this.
Maybe they did. Maybe
okay,
they did,
but
it doesn't matter what they knew.
She thought she was dying, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, dude. I mean, if
that's real and she didn't know anything about it, why wouldn't you think you were dying?
And I mean, you can say what you want about Paris Hilton from the past, dude, but I mean, you're making
Paris a sympathetic person.
I know.
How is that possible?
Crazy. You're right. Crazy. But I feel like when I'm watching that, at least just my take on it is that she feels like I feel like I'm looking at Paris reacting to her about to die.
Yeah.
That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah. And who would in a million years think that someone would fuck around with the plane's engines in flight to pull that off as a prank? Wouldn't think that, you wouldn't even think that was possible. So I could see giving someone a heart attack doing that.
Yeah, you said that. Well, you said that yesterday.
Someone. Yeah,
I think Jay even agreed with you that he totally could see somebody. I mean, dude, again, it's weird. Life and death is a weird thing, and because we all don't know when it's going to happen and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But like a lot of times when you're in a situation like that, where you're in a plane and the engine's killed, and you think you're going to die, you know, I mean, dude,
it's awful, man.
I could see it. I could see someone having absolute like I could see her down the line being scared to fly even more so.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Totally. Hey, great news out of Holly, Michigan. No, it's not the Biggie is pregnant with some toik's illegitimate love child. Instead, it's the sizzling hot June clear the lot sale at Zott Ford in Holly. You may be saying, what does that mean exactly? It means They are overstocked and need to move some brand new Fords ASAP. Right now, only at Zott Ford, you can get a new 2015 Ford Fusion or Ford Escape for just $179 a month on a short 24-month lease. These Fusions and Escapes are no base model either. They have remote keyless entry, power seats, cruise control, air conditioning, power locks, and windows, sync, My Ford Touch, Sirius satellite, plus much more. Come on down to Zott Ford at I-75 exit 98 and get your new Fusion or Escape for just $179 a month before the sale is over. Make sure you tell them the King sent you. And with that, why don't we put the wraps on it? Jay will be back tomorrow. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, listening to us, using the Amazon link on our page. And let's do it all again tomorrow for an all-new Thursday edition of the Detroit Cast.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.
Listen to God, watch you grow.